Chapter 422. Chapter 422. Old Lord Taishang wants treasures within the old dragon god subdimension. The mirage of the azure dragon on Yi Zichen's body, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, became more and more solid. Boundless dragon power surrounded his body, and even the old dragon god couldn't help but sigh in amazement at the purity of the dragon power. Is he really human? Dragon soul, condense. Following Zichen's shout, the mirage of the azure dragon behind him became even more solid. At that moment, one could practically see the patterns on the dragon's body, while the whiskers by his mouth also fluttered in the wind. Roar! A loud dragon roar sounded out from the dragon's mouth. At that moment, Yi Zichen also stood up from the ground and chucked the dragon race's secret scripture into the air. It's about done. There are some things that I need to go back and think about. This is the 5th time you condensed your soul, right? The old dragon god asked. Yi Zichen nodded. But condensing the soul 9 times is truly too difficult. I tried to condense the soul 6 times just now, but I had no idea how to do it at all. You condensed the soul 5 times in less than a month. Your talent is truly shocking. The old dragon god did not hold back his praise towards Yi Zichen. The old dragon god didn't hold back on his praise for Yi Zichen. In response, he merely nodded without any change in his heart. You seem to have experienced something again. You are much more mature than before. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile, then stretched lazily. Send me out. Zoom. When Yi Zichen, who was lying on the bed, opened his eyes, he saw Xianyuan Xiang lying on top of him in an extremely embarrassing position, while her bright eyes carried a hint of curiosity. Where did you go, just now? Can you get off of me first? Yi Zichen pointed at their embarrassing positions. Xianyuan Xiang instantly revealed a secretive smile, then pinched Yi Zichen's cheek. You're getting shy? Yi Zichen flipped over and laid on the bed. At that moment, Xianyuan Xiang was only wearing a thin veil, which faintly revealed her wonderful curves. What's more, her posture was also very alluring. Fortunately, Yi Zichen had enough self-control, and since he had gotten used to it after so long, so he ignored her. 10 yuan. I'm here. The little boy, $10, suddenly stood up from the bed. He glanced at the floor and realized that $10 was playing with Lego and Transformers, which children love to play with. At this moment, he was no longer as timid and shy as he was at the beginning. Instead, he exuded a lively aura. Yes, it had already been half a month since he'd drawn the Xianyuan sword. During this time, Yi Zichen's group of 3 stayed together. The 2 of them seemed to be playing the role of Lu Qing. However, the difference was that Xianyuan Xiang liked to tease him. Lu Jing, he really didn't know how she was doing now. Sister Xiang, look at me. Aren't I good? 10 Yuan jumped onto the bed and pulled Xianyuan Xiang. She raised her eyebrows and looked at the building blocks in front of her. Swish, swish, swish. She moved her fingers a few times, and the number of building blocks she had piled up was several times higher than the 10 pieces. Little guy, you still have a long way to go. Go have fun. Sister Xiang is still the best. The little boy opened his mouth and blinked as he looked at the building blocks that were even taller than him. Then, he jumped off the bed and started to play by himself. Why are you making him play with building blocks every day? Isn't that going to affect his cultivation progress? Xianyuan Xiang told Zichen to buy a pile of building blocks for 10 yuan the next day. In the past half a month, 10 yuan didn't do anything other than playing with building blocks. What cultivation progress does he want? Xianyuan Xiang twitched her mouth, then pointed at her chest. Big Sis is the one who attacks. He's the one who defends. Playing with building blocks can improve his concentration, which has a good training effect on his spirit. So it's like that. As expected, having an elder at home was like having a treasure. Yi Zichen felt like the pressure on him had lessened by a lot with Xianyuan Xiang. Xianyuan Xiang could explain a lot of things that he didn't understand and teach him the things that he didn't understand. Oh yeah, you didn't tell me what you were doing just now. Xianyuan Xiang flipped over, causing the veil behind her to roll up, revealing her long and beautiful legs in front of Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen helped her pull out the veil, then covered her legs with it. I went to his subdimension. I went to a dimensional space and practiced some body refining techniques there. Little fellow, I'm starting to suspect that you're gay. How can a normal man be like you? There's such a beauty lying beside you, and even her legs were exposed just now, yet you still covered me up. Xin Yuan Xiang continuously retorted. Xin Yuan Xiang continued to retort, but Yi Zichen merely rolled his eyes at her and let her slowly experience it for herself. Poor child. Yi Zichen shook his head lightly, as if Xin Yuan Xiang had already determined that Yi Zichen was gay. She brushed the hair on his forehead with her fingers, then spoke once again. There were quite a bit of opportunities. Subdimension, body tempering, secret scriptures. Bring me over to have a look next time. You can't go. Yi Zichen immediately replied. He told me to go over. What are you doing following him? You're so stupid. I'll back you up. Are you sure that what he gave you is a good secret? F***CK, just beat the shit out of him and make him give you his strongest body tempering secret. That'll save so much trouble. Xin Yuan Xiang continuously winked. Xin Yuan Xiang continuously winked at Yi Zichen. Hearing her words, Yi Zichen didn't want to hurt her. Beat the shit out of him. The old dragon god might even be able to beat the two of us with a sneeze. She even wanted to beat him up. However, when Yi Zichen thought about this older sister's offensive nature, he could only nod with a faint smile without replying. Look at yourself. I'm doing this for your own good. Xin Yuan Xiang glared, then chucked the phone from under the pillow. Hey, someone called Old Lord Taishang wants to add you as a friend. I took a look at your groups just now, the ones in the heavenly court and the underworld. I don't want to know how you got in touch with them. But let me remind you, you're someone from the rogue immortal region, so I suggest that you don't get too close to these people. Understood. It was clear that Xin Yuan Xiang wanted to remind him that the relationship between the three realms wasn't that harmonious. If they found out about his identity, then it might cause unnecessary trouble. However, the source of his current profits were all in the three realms. If he cut off contact with them, it's fine to be more careful. Yi Zichen clicked on the friend request list and saw that it was Tai Bai Jinxing's friend request at the very top. It wasn't the first time this stubborn geezer had deleted him and then added him. Yi Zichen didn't know why he added him again. Except, Sky Sovereign, this old man was a bit impulsive just now. I hope Sky Sovereign won't take offense. Old Lord Taishang immediately sent a message the moment he verified the message. Yi Zichen was rather shocked that the geezer actually admitted his mistake. I'm not that petty, Yi Zichen replied plainly. Yi Zichen replied plainly. Old Lord Taishang immediately sent another message over. Chapter 423. A helpless choice rewind time to 3 hours ago. Master, now that the pill has formed, are you sure you want to use the Samadhi True Fire to shorten the time? The boy guarding the pill furnace frowned. He had been refining pills with Old Lord Taishang for tens of thousands of years. It could be said that he was second only to Old Lord Taishang in terms of pill refining in the heavenly court. The pill in the furnace had already taken shape, and it would definitely come out after 3 days of warm refining. However, Old Lord Taishang wanted him to use the Samadhi True Fire to shorten the time. If he used the True Fire now, it might cause the furnace to explode. The materials in the furnace were all rare treasures. If it exploded, he would feel sorry for his master even though they weren't his materials. Cut the crap. I told you to use the Samadhi True Fire, so do it. Do you think you can teach me a lesson already? Old Lord Taishang raised his eyebrows. The boy quickly shook his head and replied with a bitter smile. Whatever you say, I'll do it the way you say it. Zap! The flame in the furnace became brighter and hotter. The bottom of the furnace also became red. Old Lord Taishang's immortal spirit sense had been observing the situation of the pill in the furnace. After refining pills for hundreds of thousands of years, how could he not know that using the Samadhi True Fire now was practically courting death? If he wasn't careful, he might cause the furnace to explode. If he had enough time, he wouldn't do this even if he was beaten to death. However, the Immortality Peach Feast was just around the corner, and it would start soon. If the pill didn't come out, would he have to go empty-handed? The Queen Mother had already said that the effect of the face-retaining pill wasn't as good as before. It wasn't that the effect was weaker, but that the Queen Mother had eaten too many and her body already had antibodies. This time, he purposely upgraded the face-retaining pill, making it more difficult. Chance of the furnace exploding before he could calculate the chance of the furnace exploding. Boom! A monstrous sound suddenly rang out from the alchemy room. Taishang Laojun immediately responded. He pulled back the boy who was controlling the Samadhi true fire in front of him with his left hand and quickly set up a forbidden spell in the alchemy room with his right hand. A fire lotus rushed into the sky. Many people in the heavenly court couldn't help but shake their heads when they saw this fire lotus. It seemed like old Lord Taishang had developed a new pill, and the person to be rewarded at the Queen Mother of the West birthday banquet would be him again. As for the reason why these immortals thought that way when they saw this scene, it was because who would believe that old Lord Taishang would cause a cauldron explosion while refining pills? Master, it had exploded. The boy stuttered from behind old Lord Taishang. He raised his hand and slapped the boy's head. I don't need you to tell me that. I also saw the furnace explode. As he spoke, old Lord Taishang looked at the situation in the alchemy room, his heart bleeding. It was one thing for the cauldron to explode, but it also destroyed his alchemy room. There were still many of his painstaking efforts in here. Before this, he had even considered that if the furnace really exploded, he would use the treasured pills here to deal with it, damn. However, he did not expect that the power of the pill furnace explosion this time would be so great. Just the impact of the energy just now might even be able to turn an early-stage human immortal into ashes. The boy rubbed his head, covered his nose, and used a spell to disperse the thick smoke in the alchemy room. Master, what should we do now? The Queen Mother's Immortality Peach Feast is about to begin. At the Immortality Peach Feast. Immortality Peach Feast. Old Lord Taishang was about to go crazy. If it wasn't for the Queen Mother's frequent Immortality Peach Feasts and frequent consumption of age-halting pills, he would not have needed to upgrade his pills. No, if someone was to blame, it was that Sky Sovereign Nameless. If it wasn't for the fact that he said he had a treasure to give to the Queen Mother as a gift, he would not have given up on the pills he was halfway through refining and started over again, which delayed his pill production. But what did he get in return? Broken stockings. He even swindled a few hundred bottles of pills from him. Master, a fairy from the Queen Mother's side has come to invite you to the Immortality Peach Feast. A young boy appeared outside the alchemy room. When he saw the situation, he immediately blinked and looked at his senior brother with a dumbfounded expression. Sure. The senior brother put his finger to his lips, signaling the boy to stop talking. At this time, old Lord Taishang also took out a cigarette from his pocket and tossed it into his mouth. A small flame appeared between his fingers, and he lit it up. Tell that fairy that I already know. How about this? You go with her first. I'll be right there. Yes, master. The two boys left the alchemy room at the same time. Old Lord Taishang scratched his beard, then set his gaze on Yi Zichen's phone. There's no other way. I can only try from Sky Sovereign. That's why the conversation just now happened. Yi Zichen revealed a faint expression of helplessness when he saw old Lord Taishang's message. It seems like old Lord Taishang still doesn't believe that the stockings I sent are that treasure. But that's fine. He used so many pills to exchange for a stocking that was worth 10-odd yuan. It was indeed a bit of a loss. Since he doesn't like it, then I'll just give him another treasure. If it really doesn't work, then I'll go to his jewelry store to get a diamond ring or something. Women all like shiny things, and diamonds aren't too bad of a material. Old Lord, wait a moment. I'll go and get you a new treasure right now. I wonder how long Sky Sovereign will take. Old Lord Taishang replied urgently. The Immortality Peach Feast had already begun, and the fairies from the Queen Mother's side had already rushed him more than 3 times. He didn't have much time to waste. About 2 hours. There should be a lot of traffic in Bingxing at this time. So Yi Zichen's 2 hours was a conservative estimate. Celestial Venerable, please don't tease this old man. The Immortality Peach Feast has already begun. How could I possibly have 2 hours to wait for you? Then there's nothing I can do. If you have time, then wait for me for 2 hours. If you don't, then use the stockings. Or rather, if you don't trust the stockings, then use your own pills. You've been in the heavenly court for so long. How could you not have any? Yi Zichen didn't believe that old Lord Taishang didn't have any precious pills. However, when old Lord Taishang saw the message, F*CKU, wasn't he just saying that to piss me off on purpose? He did want to use his precious pills as a gift, but all of them were blasted into smithereens just now. Sky Sovereign, this old man will remember this grudge. Old Lord Taishang smashed his phone to the side angrily. At the same time, a servant sent a message that the Queen Mother's fairies had come to invite him over. Old Lord Taishang clenched his teeth, then returned to his room and took out the black stockings that he had nearly thrown away. I'm really going to give this to the Queen Mother. Old Lord Taishang felt like his head was about to explode. However, he really couldn't take out any rare treasures, and he couldn't go over empty-handed. Never mind, I'll take this. Chapter 424. The Xiao family arrives. Yi Zichen smiled wryly and shook his head when he heard old Lord Taishang's words. This old man was he would always get angry for no reason. Could it be that his hormones were in disorder? TSK. As Yi Zichen thought naughtily, he put his phone to the side, then heard Xin Yuan Xiang tease him. Black stockings? Are you talking about what I'm wearing? When he turned around, he saw that Xin Yuan Xiang had unknowingly put on black stockings. Her face instantly turned red, and she quickly jumped off the bed. That's enough. With that, Yi Zichen left the room, but he couldn't help but think to himself, what on earth is the immortality peach feast like? Jade Lake. As far as the eye could see, there were countless heavenly court immortals standing together, chatting and laughing. There were also quite a number of people sitting on the ground, holding poker cards in their hands and playing Fight the Landlord. There was no lack of onlookers behind them. Old Lord Taishang followed the celestial maiden to the Jade Lake with a calm expression. The moment he showed his head, many celestials surrounded him. Old Lord, looks like the main character is you again. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King Li, who was wearing golden armor, smiled. Thunder God, who had his hair combed back, also walked over with a smile. That's very normal. The Queen Mother always favors old Lord Taishang the most. When I arrived, I saw a dazzling fire lotus blossoming over at old Lord Taishang's side. It seems like old Lord Taishang is making a big move again. As old Lord Taishang listened to the surrounding deities' praises with a smile, he secretly cursed Yi Zichen to death. This swindler. Achoo! Yi Zichen, who had just arrived at Maintaining Beauty Corporation's headquarters, felt his nose itch and sneezed. He rubbed his nose, then saw the supervisor of the company's security walk over. Chairman Yi. The fact that Yi Zichen was the top leader of Maintaining Beauty Corporation had already been exposed, and the employees had seen his portrait no less than 100 times. As soon as he entered the hall, the head of the security department recognized him. Yes, President Xiao is at the company, right? I came to see her. Yi Zichen nodded plainly. The security supervisor's expression instantly changed. Noticing his gaze, Yi Zichen immediately frowned. What's wrong? What happened? The head of the security department shrunk his neck and said, the imposing manner of a superior was completely revealed. I can't explain it clearly here. Let me bring you up to have a look. In front of Xiao Yumei's office. When Yi Zichen entered this floor, he saw the employees outside subconsciously glance towards her office. Not long later, angry curses sounded out from outside. Chairman Yi. The employees outside all greeted him. However, Yi Zichen frowned and spoke in an unfriendly tone. What's going on? Why are the people inside quarreling? The person who was arguing just now was clearly a man. Yi Zichen looked at the head of security with a frown. The existence of the security department was to prevent situations like this from happening, but he didn't even see a single person from the security department on this floor. President Yi, it's President Xiao who told us not to interfere. We don't dare to disobey the leader's orders. The head of security replied with a coy smile. Yi Zichen gave him a look to tell him to leave, causing the head of security to quickly run away as if he had just been pardoned. The other employees also shrunk back and continued to work. Xiao Yumei, don't get too cocky. Within Xiao Yumei's office, a man in a suit and leather shoes wore an expensive Vacheron Constantine watch. He continuously used that hand to point at Xiao Yumei, who sat calmly at the desk, and roared. I didn't come here to beg you. Letting you return to the Xiao family is a gift from the heavens. But you actually rejected it for this crappy company? The man's eyes flashed with a sinister light. Xiao Yumei merely closed the notebook on the desk indifferently, then raised her eyebrows. Enough? Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? The man squinted his eyes with a sinister look. Xiao Tong, don't you think that your words are very laughable? Xiao Yumei said plainly with an undisguised, mocking smile. The man snorted. Laughable? Xiao Yumei stood up from the chair, picked up a cup of water from the desk, and walked over to the water dispenser to pour herself a cup of water, telling me to return to the Xiao family, and even telling me to give up all of the company's shares. This is the old man's idea? This is purely my idea. Shouting squinted his eyes and snorted. Now that I'm taking over the Xiao family, I'm letting you return because I pitied you. The price is all of your company's shares. What? You don't think it's worth it? Z's. I didn't think that the Xiao family would actually be taken over by you. It seems like the Xiao family has truly declined. Xiao Yumei did not hide her mocking toward him at all. Xiao Yumei didn't hide her ridicule at all. Then, she pointed at the door behind the man. Your wishful thinking might fail. The door is behind you. Please help yourself. As soon as she finished speaking, Xiao Yumei ignored her and returned to her desk. Hearing that, Xiao Tong's sinister expression instantly turned sinister. He tore off his tie and threw it on the floor. Xiao Yumei, it seems like I have to teach you a lesson. Just as he was about to walk towards Xiao Yumei, however, before he even took a few steps, bang. At that moment, Xiao Tong suddenly felt a kick on his back. The huge force caused him to fall to the ground, and his head smashed onto Xiao Yumei's desk. When he turned around, he saw Yi Zichen standing beside him with his hands in his pockets. Brat, you came over to show off your intelligence? Who the F***ck are you? You actually dare to kick me. Do you know who I am? How could I possibly know who you are? Yi Zichen shrugged speechlessly. I really don't understand why there are always people who like to ask others if they know who they are. Could he be some sort of public figure? Yi Zichen grabbed Xiao Tong's collar and dragged him to the door of the office, then kicked him out of the office. Then he pointed at the employees outside. Tell the security department to take this grandson away. Yi Zichen slammed the office door shut and ignored Xiao Tong's shouts. He couldn't be bothered to deal with people like that. Why did you come? Xiao Yumei smiled happily. Yi Zichen raised his hand and caressed her hair. I missed you, so I came over to see you. Who would have thought that I would encounter this sort of situation? AI, who is that grandson? He's jumping around like that. Yet you aren't telling the security department to take care of him? Xiao Yumei's expression changed when Xiao Tong was mentioned. Then she smiled wryly. He's my second uncle's child. Come over and chat. Why are you chatting like this? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows in disbelief. However, when he noticed Xiao Yumei's expression, he immediately shrugged. All right, if you don't want to say too much, then I won't ask. Chapter 425. Red Packet Server at the Xiao household in the capital. Yi Zichen had done some research on the capital during the short period of time he was there and found some information about the Xiao family. It was one of the top-ranked families in the capital. The family had been doing business for generations and was a rather powerful family. Yi Zichen wasn't too surprised when he found out that Xiao Yumei was from the Xiao family. During their interactions, Xiao Yumei had hinted that her identity wasn't normal more than once. Now that he heard her say that she was from the Xiao family, it only confirmed his thoughts. The Xiao family is a very old-fashioned family. Since I was rather rebellious when I was young, and my father didn't have much status in the family, I was kicked out. Xiao Yumei smiled wryly. Actually, she had already tried her best to be concise, but if she really talked about the details, it wouldn't be that simple. That truly is the Xiao family's loss. With your talent in business, I feel like you can definitely lead the Xiao family to greater heights. I heard that the Xiao family has fallen recently. Yi Zichen smiled. Xiao Yumei retorted with a nod. Yeah, my cousin came over just now to ask me to go back. What's the price? Yi Zichen could tell from the way that grandson died that he wasn't anything good. He definitely had to pay something to ask Xiao Yume to return. You want me to give him the company? Xiao Yume replied with a smile. Hearing that, Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. He doesn't have much strength, but his appetite is huge. Seriously, then what do you think? I definitely won't give him the company, so I won't explain the details. However, I actually do want to go back to the Xiao family. Xiao Yume bit her lips. Xiao Yume bit her lips. Yi Zichen was not surprised by her answer at all. She was different from him. The reason why he didn't want to return to the Gu family after finding out about his background was because he had never lived there before. However, Xiao Yume was different. She had lived in the Xiao family when she was young, so she still had feelings for them. It was understandable that she wanted to go back. Then you don't want to give up the company, and you want to return to the Xiao family. Do you have any plans? Xiao Yume shook her head. No, I'll just take it one step at a time. Don't tire yourself out too much. When Yi Zichen held Xiao Yume's hand, he felt the hand in his pocket continuously vibrate. He took out his phone and saw that people kept tagging him in the group. He opened his social media app and saw that the group that tagged him was the red envelope group that he had created. The members of the group were all people who were close to him. He scrolled through the chat history. Erlang Shun. Why do I feel like I've seen that thing that old Lord Taishang gave me before? Monkey King. It does seem familiar. Canopy Marshall. Monkey Bro. Yang Jian. Where did you two see it? How come I've never seen it before? Old Lord Taishang said it was called Silk Stockings. Yu Lao, have you seen it before? Moon Lord. I've never seen it before either. But when I checked the material of the stockings, it was too bad. Canopy Marshall. Old Lord Taishang actually didn't send any pills this time. Old Pig is a bit confused. But it seemed like the Queen Mother of the West really liked the stockings. It seemed like Old Pig wouldn't get a share of the 10,000-year-old Saturn Peach this time. Monkey King. Idiot. Why are you panicking? I'm here. Canopy Marshall. Oh, dear bro. Lil bro's luck is all on you. Yu Lao. I hope Great Sage can help this old man steal one as well. Monkey King. No problem. Erlang Shun. You guys went off topic. Were we talking about the black stockings? Monkey King. You've been there as well. Don't you think that the black stockings, Monkey King, only idealism? After that was Yang Jian's and the monkey's crazy tagging. Yi Zichen could tell from their chat history that old Lord Taishang had given the black stockings to the Queen Mother. More importantly, the Queen Mother loved the black stockings a lot, which caused them to discuss it in the group. This stubborn geezer, he got mad at me when I told him. Yi Zichen cursed in annoyance. However, Yang Jian's and the monkey's continuous tagging made him a bit speechless. All right, I'm here. Erlang Shun. Bro, you're not being nice. Monkey King. Yeah, you clearly know that I, old son, don't get along with that geezer. Yet you still helped him. Yu Lao, what's going on? Canopy Marshall. I don't know +1. God of Fortune. I don't know +10086. Erlang Shun. You guys don't know, right? Old Lord Taishang's black stockings were given to him by my bro Yu Lao. No wonder. I can't think of anyone other than Sky Sovereign that could get such a rare treasure. Only idealism, Sky Sovereign. Do you think that the black stockings will sell like hotcakes in the heavenly court? Yi Zichen. Yu Lao. I'll send your price list later. Yu Lao, all right. Erlang Shun. Only idealism. Don't change the topic. Bro, we're sworn brothers. You clearly know that the Immortality Peach Garden is about to open, yet you didn't give the treasure to me? You didn't look for me. Yi Zichen explained helplessly. I just happened to need old Lord Taishang's help that day, so I sent him the black stockings. Don't worry. Has the Immortality Peach Feast ended yet? If it hasn't, then I'll send you guys some good treasures, all right? Canopy Marshall. It hasn't. I, Old Pig, haven't gone up yet. Sky Sovereign, hurry up and send it. Erlang Shun. I haven't gone up yet either. Bro. Good bro. Monkey King. I, Old Son, haven't gone up yet either. Yu Lao AI. God of Fortune AI. Since the two of them sighed, it was clear that they had already sent their gifts. Thus, only the three of them remained in the group. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes. Since the Queen Mother accepted the black stockings, Yi Zichen smiled faintly. Let's play. Then let's have fun. You three, go and see how big the Queen Mother's feet are and what her cup size is. Tell me after you see it. 37, B+ cup. Yang Jian directly replied on the screen the moment he sent the message. After he replied, he intentionally said, "Don't think too much into it." "Oh yeah, bro. Hurry up. It's our turn soon." That's a blatant lie. Yang Jian had developed a good eye for women from Yi Zichen when he was in the lower realm. He was able to analyze all the women in front of him. Sure, wait a moment. With that, Yi Zichen set his gaze upon Xiao Yumei. "What are you looking at me for? My feet are 36, and my cup is C+. Even if I take them off, the Queen Mother won't be able to wear them," Xiao Yumei said helplessly. Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile. "It's not about you. I don't want you. We still have such a big company." Chapter 426. The Queen Mother accepts the gift. "Are you sure that you can find what you want in the company? This isn't a department store," Xiao Yumei asked in disbelief. She had just called Li Shuang and told her to ask in the company. "Hey, you don't understand, right? I can definitely get it. Let's make a bet if you don't believe me." Yi Zichen smiled confidently. If such a huge company can't even find a set of lingerie, then it can only be said that the company is too pure. Xiao Yumei sighed helplessly when she saw Yi Zichen's confident gaze. "All right, even if you can find these in the company, but you want to give these to the Queen Mother in the heavenly court to wear? Can you not mess around like this? No matter what, she's a deity, right? So what if she's a deity? Deities are still women." Yi Zichen smiled faintly. Approximately 10 minutes later, a knock sounded out from the office door. "Come in," Xiao Yumei replied plainly. The door to the office was pushed open. Li Shuang walked in with a red face while holding 2 pieces of black lingerie and a pair of red high heels. "Director Xiao, this is what you want." Li Shuang only said half of what she wanted to say. At that moment, she was already panicking to death. Director Xiao actually told her to ask for these from the employees in the company. In order to protect Xiao Yumei's authority in the company, Li Shuang specifically asked for them in her own name. She smiled wryly when she thought back to the weird gazes of the employees when they looked at her. But asking for these in the middle of the day, Li Shuang subconsciously looked towards Yi Zichen's direction, causing a bad image to surface in her mind. Are they all so open? Ahem, just leave these here. Go do what you need to do. Xiao Yumei naturally noticed Li Shuang's weird gaze. She glared at Yi Zichen, then punched Yi Zichen after Li Shuang left the office. "Now you're happy." Lil Shuang definitely thought too much. What an unhealthy child. But let her think what she wants. So what? It's not like we weren't in the office. Don't say it. Xiao Yumei covered Yi Zichen's mouth, while her white face had already turned bright red. Hee hee. Yi Zichen chuckled, then opened a red packet server. Yang Jian and company were about to explode in the group. Erling Shun, bro, are you done yet? It's going to be my turn soon. Canopy Marshal, Sky Sovereign, hurry up. I can't hold on much longer. Monkey King, yeah, why are you so slow? If she doesn't come back, I, Old Sun, will directly give the Queen Mother the honey peaches from Huagua Mountain. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows with a faint smile as the 3 of them urged him to hurry up. "Don't worry, the treasure will be here soon. Scan. Send." Messages immediately appeared on the screen that the 3 of them had received their red packets. Not long after, the 3 of them muttered in the group. Erlang Shun, bro, you're pretty amazing. There's even a line of drooling emojis. Monkey King, what are these rags for? Just 3 ropes? What use could it be? Canopy Marshal, what the hell is this red thing? Yulao, did the Sky's Sovereign give out a new treasure? I'm going to take a good look later. Got a fortune. +1. Yi Zichen's lips curled into a faint smile as he sent them a message. The group is about to get lively. These are all great treasures. When the time comes, you guys can send these over to the Queen Mother of the West. Hee hee. I guarantee that you guys will receive no less benefits than the old Lord Taishan. Erling Shun, all right, it's my turn now. Brother, talk to you later. The others all chimed in. After Yi Zichen read through all the messages in the group, he couldn't resist his curiosity, so he directly activated the Great Tao of Heaven's Birth and set his sights on the Immortality Peach Feast. Yang Jian, don't tell me you're going to do aerobics this time. The Queen Mother, who was sitting beside the Jade Emperor, smiled faintly. In the past, Yang Jin's life was really tight. During the Queen Mother's immortal peach banquet, he did aerobics for her more than once. He also received the title of Aerobics Prince. How is that possible? This time, I'm going to give Queen Wang a bra. What? The people of the heavenly court couldn't understand this foreign language, so Yang Jian didn't waste any time and directly took out the bra he had just snatched and handed it over. When Shi Wangmu spread out the treasures, her face immediately turned red. It seems like these are the treasures that the Sky Sovereign sent me, the ones that the women were wearing. As this treasure was rather private, she quietly put it away. Soon after, her face was filled with a satisfied smile. Not bad. Yang Jian is thoughtful this time. This is what I should do, Yang Jian replied with a smile. Yang Jian replied with a faint smile. With that, he called Canopy Marshal and Monkey over. Our gifts are set. Please accept them, Queen Mother of the West. Yi Zichen gave them a look, causing the Canopy Marshal and the Monkey King to immediately walk up and hand over the high heels and the treasures made from 3 ropes. Ahem! The 2 brothers did not care about the Queen Mother's face as much as Yang Jian did. They did not hide the 2 treasures at all. The high heels were fine, but the 3 ropes, you're all thoughtful. The Queen Mother forced herself to keep a straight face, then let the 3 of them leave after praising them. When many deities saw the high heels and the 3 ropes, they immediately thought about the black silk stockings that old Lord Taishang gave them. The gazes of some male deities turned a bit weird as they wondered if they should get a set for their wives as well. I wonder where they got them from. I'll definitely ask the people who gave them the gifts after the Immortality Peach Banquet ends. Yi Zichen, who was watching the Immortality Peach Banquet from an omniscient view, smiled brightly. I didn't expect the Queen Mother to actually accept them. I wonder how she'll feel when she puts them on. What are you smiling like an idiot for? Xiao Yumei pushed him. Only then did Yi Zichen return to his senses. Just as he was about to tell her about the situation in the heavenly court, he smelled something unusual. It's very familiar. Yi Zichen twitched his nose and stood up from the sofa, then walked around the room. When he walked to the spot with the heaviest smell, he looked up and saw that the ceiling of the office was continuously leaking out the purple mist from the slimy monsters' mouths. Yi Zichen knitted his eyebrows, then quickly walked in front of Xiao Yumei and grabbed her hand. What is it? Go stay in Li Shuang's office for a while. Don't come back to this office before I find you. Although she didn't understand why Yi Zichen would tell her do this, he definitely had his reasons. Xiao Yumei lightly nodded and said, Okay, I will wait for you at Li Shuang's place. With that, Xiao Yumei left the office. At the same time, Yi Zichen locked the office door tightly. When he looked up, he noticed that the purple mist was already leaking out more and more. I don't know what's going on, but we'll know once we go in and take a look. Whoosh! He took out the Otherworld Pass from his treasure chest. Gradually, a faint glow appeared on top of the pass. Chapter 427. The broken barrier between the modern realm and the Otherworld. Whoosh! A spatial gate appeared in the Otherworld. Yi Zichen walked out and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. What's this? The purple mist was so thick that it was about to solidify into liquid. However, Yi Zichen was unable to find any slimy monsters. The Otherworld and the modern realm were parallel worlds. The reason demonic energy appeared in Xiao Yumei's office was very likely because there was too much demonic energy there, which caused it to seep into the modern realm. What Yi Zichen needed to do now was to find the source of the demonic energy leak and repair it. Yi Zichen pushed open the door to Xiao Yumei's office and walked up the stairs. 10-odd slimy monsters were tearing at the ground on the roof and had already created a small opening. Yi Zichen's pupils contracted when he looked through the small opening. It really is the modern realm. 10-odd slimy monsters also noticed Yi Zichen's existence. They crawled towards him with their limbs dripping with green liquid. Break! Yi Zichen roared, causing the slime monsters to disintegrate and disappear from the space. They're actually opening the barrier between the modern realm and the modern realm. Just as Yi Zichen was thinking about how to repair it, a huge hole suddenly appeared in the wall of the building, and a pair of huge hands reached towards Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen subconsciously raised his right hand. A clear sound of collision sounded out. At the same time, Yi Zichen also called out softly. Xian Yuan. A sword filled with boundless power appeared in his hand, and Xian Yuan Xiang stood next to the sword. What a disgusting smell! Xian Yuan Xiang pinched her nose. She pinched her nose, then looked towards the gigantic monster outside the hole in the wall and called out to Yi Zichen. Don't worry, Yi Zichen. Hey, you can't be thinking of using me to chop that guy, right? I don't want to, it's disgusting. The huge monster was nearly 20 meters tall, and a black liquid continuously flowed down its body. The liquid was like the mud in the sewers, and gave off a disgusting stench. Not only him, Yi Zichen smiled faintly, then stood at the edge of the hole and looked down at the dense amount of slimy monsters crawling on the ground. The density of the slimy monsters was so dense that even people without trypophobia would feel their scalps tingle. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Xian Yuan Xiang only took a single glance, then turned her head back. At the same time, she grabbed Yi Zichen's arm and shook it. Master, I don't want to kill those monsters. They look so disgusting. Yi Zichen raised his hand and caressed her hair, while a gentle smile covered his face. That's not up to you. As soon as he finished speaking, his gaze changed, and he narrowed his eyes as he snorted. Let's go. Release your sharpest side and lend me a hand. Swoosh. Without any hesitation, Xian Yuan Xiang jumped down from the roof. Her face was filled with displeasure, but she still followed him and jumped down. At the same time, she kept forming hand seals. Sharp blade burn. The Xian Yuan sword in his hand instantly turned fiery red, and there were faint flames above it. Burn them to death if you can, but don't use me to kill them. Xian Yuan Xiang continuously muttered behind him. Yi Zichen nodded, then swung his sword in a circle in the air. Flame slash. Virum. A scorching wave of flames descended from the sky, causing all of the slimy monsters to disappear wherever the flames passed. In less than half a minute, there were no longer any slimy monsters within 10 meters of Yi Zichen. 3 minutes later, all the slime monsters in the area had been killed. Only the giant demon remained in this world. It's fortunate that Laonyang activated the flames to the max, otherwise this brat might really use me to kill them. Before she could let out a sigh of relief, she saw Yi Zichen charge towards the huge demon with Xian Yuan, sword in hand. Ugh! She couldn't help but retch when she saw the huge demon. When she thought about how she was going to kill that monster, Yi Zichen chopped down on the huge demon's leg without any hesitation, causing the monster's leg to instantly fall onto the ground not far away. Dong! The one-legged, huge demon knelt down on one knee, while its purplish-red eyes shone with a terrifying light. Then, it let out a furious roar. Whoosh! A strong wind blew past. Yi Zichen stood on the ground with a smile and felt the power of the wind, human immortal level. Yi Zichen smirked, then retracted Xian Yuan's sword back into his arm. Hey, what are you doing? Xian Yuan Xiang raised her eyebrows in shock. Yi Zichen turned around and gave her a bright smile. Hey, didn't you say that you didn't want to kill this monster? Didn't you say you didn't want to kill this monster? Then I'll kill it with my bare hands. With that, Yi Zichen stomped on the ground and charged towards the huge demon like a bolt of lightning. Bang! Yi Zichen's fist smashed onto the huge demon's head. The huge demon roared angrily, then slapped Yi Zichen. You're too slow. Bang! Yi Zichen kicked the huge demon's face once again. All of a sudden, the huge demon's eyes shone with an intense purple light. Then, his body also gradually shrunk until he became a monster of around 2 meters tall. His body shrunk, but his strength increased. The smile on Yi Zichen's face grew brighter as he felt the pressure that the huge demon gave him. Come! Yi Zichen hooked his finger towards the shrunken, huge demon. The huge demon immediately leapt over with one leg. Yi Zichen raised his arm to block the attack. The huge force caused Yi Zichen's arm to feel a bit numb. You're quite strong, but if that's all you've got, then you're going to die. Dong! Yi Zichen turned around and kicked the huge demon's stomach, instantly sending it flying 10-odd meters away and crashing into a wall near the street. The huge demon roared angrily, then charged over once again with bloodshot eyes. Seriously, I was looking forward to it. Yi Zichen lowered his head as he stood on the spot. He did not even look at the troll, and merely dodged the troll's arm, then punched the troll's stomach with all his might. Bang! A powerful aura passed through Yi Zichen's body like an air cannon. Dong! The huge demon fell onto the ground powerlessly, while Yi Zichen crushed its head with a stomp. Purple mist seeped out from the huge demon's head and fused with the purple aura ocean of the other world. Seriously disappointing. Yi Zichen shook his head. At that moment, a spatial gate appeared in the other world. The person in front was Wei Chun, whom Yi Zichen hadn't seen for a long time, and the normal members of Tribulation. You seem to be a bit slow. I already dealt with this big guy. Wei Chun shrugged. Wei Chun faintly shrugged his shoulders. He was completely stunned as he looked at the enormous creature on the ground. Immediately, he raised his eyebrows and said, "Boss Yi, why are you here?" Chapter 428. To ask for help. When Wei Chun arrived at the company with Yi Zichen and saw the broken partition, he knitted his eyebrows tightly. "What do you think?" Yi Zichen glanced at Wei Chun. It could be said that he was completely helpless in this situation. "Boss Yi, can you tell me what happened just now?" Wei Chun raised his head and asked. "Of course, no problem." He gave Wei Chun a brief account of what he had just seen, including some of the more important details in detail. After listening to all of this, Wei Chun's brows were tightly knitted together. "So that's how it is. What's wrong? Is it troublesome?" Yi Zichen frowned. He didn't like this sort of expression the most. It was as if trouble was coming to find him. "It's not troublesome at all. I just need to use ordinary immortal spiritual energy to repair it. I just didn't expect these abyssals to have evolved to the point where they could digest and absorb this layer. Actually, before I came here, I saw nether demonic energy appearing in many places. How about this, Boss Yi? Just do what you need to do and leave these to me." Wei Chun said indifferently, but from the look in his eyes, it was not as simple as he made it out to be. But since he didn't want to say it, Yi Zichen wouldn't ask. He didn't want to take the initiative to cause trouble. Of course, if trouble really came to him, he wouldn't be afraid. Yi Zichen patted his shoulder with a smile. "Then I'll have to trouble you. If you need any help, just let me know." "No problem." When he arrived at Li Shuang's office, he saw the two women sitting together looking at clothes and bags on the internet. "You're back." Yi Zichen glanced at the interface on the laptop, then raised his eyebrows with a smile. "That's right. You two are really something. Instead of doing your job properly, you actually started to look at shopping websites." "What? Are you going to fire me?" Xiao Yumei smiled. Yi Zichen raised his hand and pinched her cheeks when he saw how cute she looked. "You already know the answer." Yi Zichen tousled her hair, stretched lazily, and said, "Don't worry about me. I still have other things to deal with. I'll look for you when I'm free." Xiao Yumei's expression darkened, but she still smiled and nodded. "All right, then you can get back to work. I'm sorry. Once I've settled everything, I'll definitely spend more time with you." He stretched out his hand and pulled her into his embrace. She smiled and shook her head. "I know, don't worry. Now that the company is thriving, even if you want me to go out, I don't have the time." Yi Zichen raised his chin proudly. Seeing her expression, Yi Zichen shook his head, then left after chatting a bit more. Little did he know that the moment he left, Xiao Yumei's exquisite face became dejected. She sighed softly and walked to Li Shuang's side. She pulled the notebook over. Although her gaze was on the clothes and bag, her heart was filled with sadness. "I have a feeling that the distance between us is growing further and further apart. But all I can do is make myself walk a few steps faster so that you won't forget." After returning to the mansion, Yi Zichen directly went to his bedroom. As soon as he entered the room, he locked the door and called Xinyuan Xiang out. "Did you have something you wanted to say to me at that place just now?" "Ugh, you could tell even that." Xinyuan Xiang stretched lazily, then pointed at the phone in his pocket and said, "But before that, shouldn't you take care of things on your side?" Yi Zichen took out his phone in confusion. Only then did he notice that his WeChat was already displayed as 99+. When he clicked it open, he saw that most of the messages were from the Red Packet server. "Can it be Marshall? Did you guys get the news? Old Lord Taishan. Got it. It's that drive that's been supporting Tai Bai for so many years. After Yang Jian told him that news, he might really be ruthless. Erlang Shun, it's my fault. Monkey King, I did send the news, but even if it's the lower realm, it'll be decided by that geezer Jade Emperor, right? Got a fortune. Why didn't I get it? Yu Lao, you're not a combatant. Erlang Shun, what's the point of looking for you when you're trash with negative combat abilities? Old Lord Taishang, it was a good immortality peach banquet, but it ended up like this. It seems like Tai Bai Jinxing really couldn't hold it in anymore. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said something like that. Yi Zichen was a bit confused when he saw the messages in the group. Even though he had read them from start to finish, he didn't understand what happened in the middle. Shouldn't the heavenly court be holding the immortality peach banquet right now? Why did they? Has the immortality peach banquet ended? What are you guys talking about? Yi Zichen sent the message with a look of confusion. The other people in the group immediately started to talk, especially old Lord Taishang. Sky Sovereign, I'm so sorry. It's my fault for not believing you. Old Lord Taishang was clearly talking about the black silk stockings. Since Yi Zichen wasn't a petty person, he felt that it was already over. What he was curious about was the content of their conversation in the group just now. Let all go. What were you guys talking about in the group just now? Sighed. Yang Jian sighed. Bro, you don't know. The gifts for the Immortality Peach Banquet have pretty much all been given out. Normally, the Queen Mother would ask us what we want. Logically speaking, we naturally want the Immortality Peach Banquet. But that geezer old Lord Taishang, he asked the Jade Emperor to send troops against the demons, the monkey replied. That geezer Tai Bai Jinxing is truly bold. He actually said something like that in that sort of situation. Isn't he trying to force the Jade Emperor to abdicate? We all received Tai Bai Jinxing's message. It shouldn't be just us. The other generals should have received it as well. In the message, Tai Bai Jinxing asked us to lend him a hand. Canopy Marshal also replied in the group. Yu Lao also spoke up after that. Just like that, the Immortality Peach Banquet ended early. The Jade Emperor waved his sleeves and left angrily, while the deities all returned to their manners. Sending troops against the demons was a huge matter. As the highest leader of the heavenly court, the Jade Emperor naturally had a lot of things to consider. However, Tai Bai Jinxing's attempt to force the Jade Emperor to abdicate forced him into a desperate situation, so it was no wonder that he would leave. However, Tai Bai Jinxing's experience and hatred towards the demons was something that no one in the heavenly court could compare to. It was understandable that he would be so desperate. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head. How is Tai Bai Jinxing now? Chapter 429. Tai Bai and the Jade Emperor within the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. An oppressive atmosphere filled the palace. The annoyed Jade Emperor chased all the servants away, leaving only him and Tai Bai Jinxing in the palace. After a long while, the Jade Emperor stood up from his chair with a frown. Tai Bai, were you forcing me back at the Immortality Peach Feast? Tai Bai Jinxing lowered his head, then bowed and asked for permission. Jade Emperor, please send out your army to slay the demons. Tai Bai, the Jade Emperor suddenly shouted. He quickly walked in front of Tai Bai Jinxing and looked at him solemnly. I know you have a grudge against the demon race, but you're forcing me. Jade Emperor, please send out your army to slay the demons. Tai Bai Jinxing spoke up once again. The Jade Emperor let out a long sigh and nodded. Tai Bai, do you really think that I don't dare to touch you? Don't be too arrogant. I have to consider sending out my army to slay the demons. You can't convince me with just a few words. Jade Emperor, please send out your army to slay the demons. This is ridiculous. The Jade Emperor roared angrily, then shouted towards the heavenly soldiers outside. Men, capture Tai Bai Jinxing and send him to the heavenly prison. Anyone who dares to come into contact with him during this period of time will be stripped of their celestial position and will never be hired again. Understood. The heavenly soldiers replied in a trembling voice, then dragged Tai Bai Jinxing outside. However, even at this moment, Tai Bai Jinxing still did not beg for mercy at all. He continued to shout at the Jade Emperor in a sonorous voice. Jade Emperor, Please send out your army to slay the demons. Bang! The Jade Emperor pushed the celestial wine and fruits onto the ground. Slay the demons. Of course, he wanted to slay the demons, but the problem was not that simple. Tai-Bai jinxing continuously urged him. Even a clay figurine would get angry, and he was the Jade Emperor. All of a sudden, who dares to spy on this sovereign's palace? The Jade Emperor raised his head abruptly, and his sharp spiritual sense instantly spread out from his body. His probing was so detailed that he could even detect the molecules in the air clearly. Yi Zichen, who had been using the great Tao of Heaven's birth to observe the situation, quickly turned it off. As expected of the Jade Emperor, his aura was so strong that he was speechless. Just now, he felt as if he had been caught by him. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh to calm himself down, then picked up his phone and replied in the group. Something happened to Tai-Bai jinxing. The Jade Emperor was furious and sent him to prison. Boom! Instantly, the red envelope server exploded. Erlang Shun, brother, don't joke around. The Jade Emperor actually sent Tai-Bai jinxing to prison? Monkey King, glad to hear it. Canopy Marshal, that's a bit unbelievable. The Jade Emperor and that old man are almost in the same boat. Old pig. Always thought Tai-Bai jinxing was the Jade Emperor's lover. God of Fortune, do you dare to say that in front of Tai-Bai? Zhu Beiji, F***CK off. Yu Lao, how did things turn out like this, old Lord Taishang? Only idealism. Where did Sky's sovereign get this information? Naturally, I saw it with my own eyes, Yi Zichen replied indifferently. The people in the group were stunned again. Didn't Sky's sovereign's words mean that he was using his immortal spiritual consciousness to probe the soaring Heaven King Palace? Just how gutsy did he have to be to actually do that? More importantly, the seals of the soaring Heaven King Palace could be said to be the most complicated and sensitive. Even a small gust of wind would attract the attention of the guards outside. What's more, the Jade Emperor is in the soaring Heaven King Palace. Did Sky's sovereign probe just because he said so? Is he stronger than the Jade Emperor? The Jade Emperor is an immortal king. Don't think too much. The Jade Emperor also felt my probe, but he didn't catch me. Yi Zichen replied indifferently in the group. You guys better not mess with the Jade Emperor in the near future, and don't even think about go to see Tai-Bai. The Jade Emperor said in the soaring Heaven King Palace that if anyone dares to go and see him, then he will strip them of their celestial position. If you guys don't believe me, then the Jade Emperor will send someone to inform you later. The moment he sent the message, an announcement appeared in the Heavenly Court's chat group. Jade Emperor's decree. Tai-Bai jinxing was spoiled and disrupted the Immortality Peach Feast. Furthermore, he did not listen to instructions and offended his superiors multiple times. Now, Tai-Bai jinxing will be sent to the prison to repent. If he sincerely repents, then he will be dealt with leniently due to his many achievements in the Heavenly Court. If he does not repent, then he will be stripped of his celestial position and kicked out of the Heavenly Court. Also, any deities that come into contact with Tai-Bai jinxing during this period of time will be stripped of their celestial positions and kicked out of the Heavenly Court, never to be hired again. The moment the message was sent out, the members of the Heavenly Court's chat group exploded. Tai-Bai jinxing was someone that stood above everyone else. He was the #1 person by the Jade Emperor's side for several tens of thousands of years, and the deity that the Jade Emperor trusted the most. But this time, the Jade Emperor actually wanted to cripple him. All of the deities looked at the message in shock, but did not dare to say anything in the group. This was no longer something that they could gossip about in the group. If they said anything wrong, then something huge would happen. At that moment, Tai-Bai jinxing suddenly laughed coldly in the group. However, it was merely a cold laugh, and there was no other reply after that. The people in the group thought that they would be able to see a cat fight, but there was still no reply even after 15 minutes. When they looked at the members of the group, God of Thunder, I'm not seeing things, right? Tai-Bai jinxing left the group. All of a sudden, all of the members in the group were shocked. Tai-Bai jinxing left the group? Does he want to break ties with the Jade Emperor? Everyone knew that the Jade Emperor had given this group to Tai Bai to manage in order to promote the harmonious development of the Heavenly Court's employees. The Jade Emperor, who was in the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches, also looked at the screen in shock. He had wanted to send Tai Bai a message to ask him why he left the group, but noticed that Tai Bai Jinxing had deleted all of his friends. Tai Bai, you really went overboard. What he did not know was that Yi Zichen had invited Tai Bai Jinxing into the red packet server the moment he left the group. Ahem, a new person has entered the group to send red packets. Ding dong. It was just a joke, but what was unbelievable was that Tai Bai Jinxing actually sent it. You received Tai Bai Jinxing's red packet. Unbreakable body, level 2. X1 Yi Zichen was a bit stunned when he saw the notification. His level 1 unbreakable body was something that he got from Yang Jian. He had wanted to buy level 2 from the treasure shop, but he noticed that it wasn't there. He didn't expect that he would actually get it from Tai Bai Jinxing. Yi Zichen subconsciously glanced at Tai Bai Jinxing's red packet. When he saw the contents of the red packet, he was instantly shocked. All sorts of valuable secret scriptures, celestial pills, magic treasures, spiritual talismans in the treasure shop. Is this geezer crazy? He sent out all of his wealth, right? The other members in the group also kept asking if Tai Bai Jinxing had sent the wrong message. However, what they didn't expect was Chapter 430. Chain reaction. As for how deep the hatred between Tai Bai Jinxing and the fiends was, not even the immortals in the heaven, who had been with him for hundreds of thousands of years, could truly know. However, from the moment he fell out with the Jade Emperor and took out all his belongings, one could feel his determination to get rid of demons. He couldn't take it anymore. The countless days and nights that tormented him were like nightmares that kept waking him up from his dreams. When he woke up and looked at the empty room, he could only sigh in loneliness. Tai Bai, this needs to be considered at length. I have never come into contact with the Devil Clan, but since they can fight against the God Clan, they must be a huge monster. Even the few of us in the group will find it difficult to fight against them. Old Lord Taishang frowned slightly. They were all elders of the Heavenly Court, and they had a good relationship in private. Indeed, he wanted to help his old friend fulfill his long-cherished wish. But even though he wanted to help, he couldn't just nod his head and agree without considering anything else. That's right, old man. The Jade Emperor has a good relationship with you. Talk to him nicely. Monkey replied at that moment. However, Tai Bai Jinxing sent a screenshot in the group. The content of the screenshot was the announcement that the Jade Emperor had made in the Heavenly Court's communication group. Do you still think so now? The Jade Emperor is ready to abandon me. Tai Bai Jinxing's tone was accompanied by a faint, bitter smile. But that's good too, the Heavenly Court. I've had enough of it. If you're not in the Heavenly Court, where are you going? The itinerant immortal region? Yulao also replied suspiciously. Immortal region? So what if he went to any of the 3 lower realms? I'm preparing to return to the God world. If you're willing, I can bring you with me. Of course not now, Tai Bai Jinxing calmly replied. At this moment, he had already made up his mind. It was impossible for the Jade Emperor to send troops to eliminate demons for him. However, after waiting for hundreds of thousands of years, he finally could not bear to wait any longer. He wanted revenge. Even if he couldn't borrow the power of the Heavenly Court, he wanted to use his own method to hunt down the demons, to offer sacrifices to his wife and son. Everyone in the group turned silent, while Yi Zichen was also deeply shocked. Tai Bai Jinxing wanted to return to the Divine Realm. Could it be that the Divine Realm still existed during the Great War of Gods and Devils? Ding dong. System quest. Agree to Tai Bai Jinxing's request and help him slay demons and return to the Celestial Realm. Anytime. Long-term mission. Mission reward. Divine Blood X1. Divine Marrow Cleansing Pill X1. The system issued another mission, but this time, Yi Zichen did not dislike it at all. Eradicating demons was also one of his wishes. Helping Tai Bai Jinxing fulfill his long-cherished wish did not conflict with his thoughts at all. Fellow immortals, I wonder, Tai Bai Jinxing was also a little hesitant at this moment. He knew that his request was a little too much. Even though the demon race had suffered great losses in the war with the god race, They were still the former leader of the Six Realms. A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Perhaps there were still supreme-level experts after the Immortal King realm in the Devil race. If fellow immortals find this difficult, I won't force you. Just pretend that I didn't say anything. Yi Zichen sighed softly. Just as he was about to leave the group, Yi Zichen sent a message. I can help you. Tai Bai Jinxing, who was about to leave, smiled wryly when he saw the message. He knew of Yi Zichen's identity. He was just a mortal. In terms of fighting ability, he couldn't even compare to the Heavenly Court's heavenly soldiers. All of a sudden, Tai Bai Jinxing started to imagine how great it would be if this young man was truly a great deity with the title of Sky Sovereign. That was what Tai Bai Jinxing thought, but the others in the group did not. Canopy Marshal, Sky Sovereign is actually going to help. God of Fortune, I can already see the trembling of the demon race. Yu Lao, Tai Bai Jinxing, Sky Sovereign's help might be of help to you. Erlang Shun, only idealism. Bro, you're not joking, right? If you help, then I, your bro, won't refuse. Monkey King, if Brother Nameless helps, then I, Old Son, will join in as well. Old Lord Taishanga, if Sky Sovereign wants to help, then I, Old Son, can't descend, but I can support you guys with pills. God of Fortune, if that's the case, then this little deity is weak, but there's no problem with financial support. Canopy Marshal, then what do I, Old Pig, do? How about I help as well? Tai Bai Jinxing never would have imagined that nobody responded to him in the group. However, the atmosphere in the group instantly changed with just a simple sentence from Yi Zichen. This young man actually established such a deep friendship with the deities of the Heavenly Court in a short few months? This sovereign isn't joking. Eradicating the demon race is this sovereign's wish as well. Yang Jian also knows that I'm fighting against the demons right now. If Tai Bai wants to hunt down demons, then we could become comrades. Yi Zichen replied plainly, while the others all expressed that they would help. At the same time, a sincere message also appeared in the chat between Yi Zichen and Tai Bai Jinxing. Thank you. The two simple words contained too many complicated emotions for Tai Bai Jinxing. This was the first time he saw the color of his future after so many years of going from the God race to the Heavenly Court. It was filled with hope. You're welcome. After replying to the message, Yu Lao in the group replied once more. All right, then it's settled. Those who can fight, do it. Those who can back up, do it. This old man will also run a shop in the Heavenly Court to support you guys. But the problem now is, how is Tai Bai Jinxing going to get out of the Heavenly Prison? Tai Bai Jinxing should be in the Heavenly Prison right now, right? Yes. Tai Bai Jinxing smiled wryly, then looked at the tightly locked prison door. I am indeed in the Heavenly Prison right now. There are plenty of heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals guarding me outside. Then that's the problem. How are you going to get out? If you can't, then it's pointless to say anything else, Yu Lao replied very calmly. Erlang Shun, Yang Jian, immediately spoke up. I'm the head of the Heavenly Court's security department. I'm the head of the Heavenly Court's security department. How about I order those heavenly soldiers to withdraw? No, Tai Bai Jinxing replied before anyone else could reply. This old man appreciates true Lord Erlang's kind intentions, but if you let me out, then it will definitely drag you into it. I'm completely prepared now. The Heavenly Prison can't trap me. Oh, great deity Tai Bai, do you have something up your sleeve? Yang Jian asked in confusion. He knew that the Heavenly Court's heavenly prison was filled with seals. It could be said that even a fly wouldn't be able to escape after entering, let alone such a huge person. The secrets of the heavens cannot be revealed. Tai Bai Jinxing replied with a smile in the group. After exchanging a few more sentences in the group, everyone went back to their own business. At that moment, Yi Zichen also put his phone to the side, while feeling rather comforted in his heart. If Tai Bai Jinxing joins in, then his path of slaying demons will be a bit easier. Of course, it might also become more difficult, but at the very least, he won't be alone. Yi Zichen rubbed his head, then looked up at Xianyuan Xiang, who had a smile on her face. Chapter 431. Awakening Xianyuan Xiang raised her eyebrows with a smile, then pinched Yi Zichen's cheek. Not bad, little fellow. You're going to trick Tai by jinxing from the heavenly court? I'm not tricking you. Yi Zichen smiled, then said with determination, the demons are my mortal enemies. Even without Tai by jinxing, I'm prepared to fight the demons to the end. He could think of the innocent people who died. When he closed his eyes, it could be said that he had the same past as Tai by jinxing. The demons must be eradicated, regardless of whether it was for revenge or to let the souls in his heart rest in peace. What was most intolerable to him was that after his friends were killed by the demon race, he had once looked for King Chu Jiang of the underworld to help him investigate their reincarnation. But the result of the investigation was that there was no such ghost. That meant that they never returned to the underworld after they died. Everything was unforgivable. All right, you've grown quite a bit recently, Xin Yuan Xiang smiled. Xin Yuan Xiang smiled faintly, then said, Tai Bai Jinxing seemed to have mentioned the God Clan. If there's a chance, you must pay a visit to the God Clan. Back then, Emperor Huang Xinyuan missed the opportunity. I know. Yi Zichen nodded. He would definitely go to the God Realm in the future, but he hadn't even gone to the 3 realms yet, so how could he even think about the God Realm? Don't say that anymore. Didn't you have something you wanted to tell me when you returned from the other world? You got a pretty good memory, kid. Xinyuan Xiang chuckled. I thought you'd forgotten all about it. I care a lot about any information regarding the demons. Yi Zichen's gaze turned solemn. Especially since the other world was able to open a hub with the modern realm. All right, actually what I wanted to tell you was, did you feel the demons' monsters evolving? Xin Yuan Xiang raised her eyebrows. Evolving? Yi Zichen frowned. To be honest, he really didn't feel any signs of the demons evolving. Those crawling monsters were still at the level of being insta-killed. Even those big guys were no match for him. However, what was worth noting was that the big guy was much taller than before. Looks like you didn't notice. Xin Yuan Xiang smiled faintly, then raised her eyebrows. Just now, when I went with you to the other world, I discovered that among those monsters, there was that human immortal. When he was fighting with you, I could feel the changes inside him. What changed? Yi Zichen asked. Transformation. Xin Yuan Xiang narrowed her eyes and replied, his insides are currently undergoing a transformation, and he's also gaining sentience. At that time, you dealt with him rather quickly. If you had delayed for another hour, that monster would have gained the ability to think. Oh, Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. He really hadn't noticed that. It was not good news for him that the monsters of the Devil Clan could already develop spiritual intelligence. When he was unconscious, his opponent's attack could be said to be a reflex, but if he had the ability to think, then his advantage would be gone. What you need to do now is to hurry up and improve your strength. Xin Yuan Xiang spoke up once more. You need to understand that the demons you've encountered are merely abyssals. You've never seen the true soldiers of the devil race. Boom. Xin Yuan Xiang's words caused Yi Zichen's expression to change. That's right. I've never truly fought against any demons. I've only been bullying the abyssals. That's all. I was so proud of myself when I dealt with the big guy, but Xin Yuan Xiang's words woke me up. I've fought against the demons before when I followed the Yellow Emperor. Their demonic steeds and warriors are all rather strong, and there are plenty of talented people among them. Don't let your guard down. I understand. Yi Zichen replied plainly. Yi Zichen replied indifferently. Then his expression darkened. That demon emperor should be one of them. The deep helplessness I felt when I fought him. Even though my strength has increased, if I fight him, I still don't have any chance of winning. A sense of urgency rose up from the bottom of his heart. Yi Zichen rubbed his throbbing head, then revealed a solemn expression. All right, it's very late. Don't think too much. Rest well. Only when you have enough energy will your strength increase steadily. Xin Yuan Xiang patted Yi Zichen's head, then pointed at the center of his eyebrows. Go to sleep. Another half a month passed by in the blink of an eye. During this period of time, the connection between the other world and the modern realm showed signs of wear and tear. Wei Chun continuously led the members of the organization to the places where the abyssals appeared. It could be said that the modern realm was not peaceful. At the same time, something huge also happened in the heavenly court. Tai Bai Jinxing left the heavenly court, returned his celestial position, and resigned from the heavenly court. The moment this happened, the heavenly court was in an uproar. This elder, who always had a smile on his face, had always been the heavenly court's good guy, the main butler. They could accept any deity in the heavenly court falling out with the Jade Emperor, but they did not believe that Tai-Bai Jinxing would actually leave the heavenly court. However, reality proved that he did. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. After Tai-Bai Jinxing left the group, many deities suddenly appeared in the Red Packet server. God of Thunder, Mother of Lightning, Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King Li, All-Seeing Eyes, Clairaudient, Third Prince Neza. The people who were once active in the Heavenly Court chat group all came over. Of course, they did not request to join. It was Tai-Bai Jinxing who invited them. God of Thunder, Tai-Bai Jinxing, why did you leave the Heavenly Court? Mother of Lightning, why did you leave just like that? You don't even want your celestial position anymore. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King Li, Tai-Bai, you are too impulsive. You have less than 10% of your strength after your celestial position is taken away. Where can you go to live in peace? I found out from the Jade Emperor that you want to get rid of demons. Can't you just tell me directly? I have 100,000 celestial soldiers and celestial generals under me. All-seeing eyes. The heavenly court without Tai-Bai is a mess. Wind catching ears. Exactly. No one cares anymore. Third Prince Neza. Then what about Grandpa Tai-Bai's cultivation experience? Do I leave it for the next person to inherit the celestial position? Yi Zichen smiled brightly when cultivation experience was mentioned. Tai-Bai Jinxing was no idiot. How could he leave his cultivation experience behind? What's more, the beneficiary of all this, F*CK, 10 billion cultivation experience. Lousy didn't F*King count it wrong, right? Yi Zichen sat on the chair and stared at the cultivation experience balance in the treasure chest on his phone. Tai-Bai Jinxing had transferred all of his cultivation experience to him before leaving. It was like he had inherited a rich person's inheritance. Yi Zichen instantly turned from a chicken to a phoenix. 10 billion. Chapter 432. Bye bye bye. Treasure shop. Bye bye bye. What fiery eyes of truth, body freezing art. He would buy everything that was available in the treasure shop. Previously, Yi Zichen felt that the treasures in the treasure shop were too scammed. There were so many treasures that he could only look at, but not use. But now he simply felt that, hurry up and give me a mission so I can unlock the third floor. Otherwise, it would be too much of a pity if I can't buy anything with this cultivation experience. Ding dong. Would you like to use Fiery Eyes of Truth, Level 2? The secret scripture will disappear after use. Ding dong. Would you like to use 72 transformations, Level 2? The secret scripture will disappear after use. Ding dong. Would you like to use Body Freezing Art, Level 2? The secret scripture will disappear after use. Confirm. Confirm everything. Zoom. His body was constantly releasing golden light, flickering nonstop as if he had activated a special effect. A sea of information surged into his mind, causing the smile on Yi Zichen's face to brighten. Transform. Yi Zichen's phone fell onto the bed, causing a buzzing housefly to appear in the room. Ha ha ha, too cool. The housefly laughed excitedly in the room. At the same time, Yi Zichen chanted in his heart. Fiery Eyes of Truth, activate. The room seemed to become transparent, causing the structure of the room to appear in front of him. Yi Zichen flew around the room excitedly. Not long later, in front of his eyes, Snow White. Big. Ugh. Yi Zichen, who was still in his transformation state, instantly shot through the air. He covered his nose in fear of it bleeding, then looked up and saw Xianyuan Xiang looking at him with a faint smile. Little brother, is big sister that pretty? Her smile contained a hint of threat. Yi Zichen tilted his head and acted like he didn't know anything, then walked beside Tenor and picked up the building blocks. Tenor, did you have fun? Yes. Tenor nodded with a giggle, while Xianyuan Xiang smiled faintly behind him. Are you feeling guilty? You dare to do it, but don't dare to admit it? If you saw it, then so be it. It's not a big deal to me. With that, Xianyuan Xiang walked over with her fists clenched. Although she always teased Yi Zichen, it was purely because she thought it was fun. If Yi Zichen dared to take another step, no, half a step. What do you want to do? I'm your master. Are you going to hit me? Yi Zichen smiled faintly, his tone laced with threat. Master, how could I hit you when you're already so good at it? I just want to caress you. Yi Zichen subconsciously gulped as he walked over with a giggle. Freeze! Xinyuan Xiang, who was walking forward, suddenly stopped in her tracks. At that moment, Yi Zichen also walked in front of him with his hands on his waist and shook his head proudly. Come on, hit me. Are you kidding me? Do you think I'll let you bully me? Come, come, come. My face is right here. Try hitting it. As he acted cool, Yi Zichen was overjoyed. It was good to have cultivation experience. To get such a large amount of cultivation experience from Tai-Bai Jinxing was really amazing. If it wasn't for this cultivation, he wouldn't have been able to buy so many secret manuals, and he wouldn't have been able to use the fixed body art to act cool. Unbeknownst to him, while he was acting cool, Xinyuan Xiang, who was frozen in place, had a faint smile on her face. Slap! Xinyuan Xiang slapped his face. Yi Zichen was instantly stunned. He looked at Xinyuan Xiang, who was smiling at him, in shock. No. Aren't you immobilized? Why can you still move? I don't know. Why do you think I can still move? Z's, who was so cocky in front of me just now, and even told me to hit him? Since you asked like that, then I can only satisfy you. Xinyuan Xiang smiled gently, then clenched her right fist. Dong! A huge sound instantly sounded out in the Yi family mansion. In less than a minute, Xiao Yumei and Tian hurried over and pushed open the door. The moment they entered, they saw Yi Zichen sprawled out on the floor. Zichen, Xiao Yumei ran over in a panic and accidentally knocked over all of Tenor's building blocks. Scoundrel! Tenor stood up angrily and looked at Xiao Yumei's back. Yi Zichen quickly gave him a look. He and Xinyuan Xiang were both artifact spirits, so Xiao Yumei couldn't see them. Zichen, are you all right? Yi Zichen helped the nervous Yi Zichen up from the ground and shook his head with a smile, then glared at Xinyuan Xiang. No, I just fell. How could you be so careless? You nearly scared me to death just now. Xiao Yumei frowned, then stood up with a coy smile. Yi Zichen glared at Xinyuan Xiang, then smiled. All right, don't worry. Let's go out. Yes. Tian nodded gently and left the room. However, before she left, she blinked her bright eyes and looked around the room once, then skipped after Yi Zichen and company. After going downstairs, Mother Yi asked about what happened just now. After explaining it to her with a smile, she and Xiao Yumei went to the kitchen to prepare food. After this period of interaction, the relationship between Mother Yi and Xiao Yumei had become that of a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law. Tian sat on Yi Zichen's lap, while her bright eyes were filled with curiosity. Daddy, Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows with a smile, then caressed her hair. What is it? Hee, nothing. Tian giggled, then jumped down from his body, ran in front of the television, grabbed the game controller, then ran back. Play games. Sure. After playing games with Tian in the living room for half an hour, Yi Zichen subconsciously took out his phone and took a look. There were still plenty of deities entering the red packet server. The number of people that were originally in the single digits was now close to 100. As for the messages in the group, they were all asking about why Tai-Bai Jinxing left the Heavenly Court. Seriously, this geezer. He pulled people into the group, but who knows where he ran off to? Yi Zichen silently retorted in his heart. While he was cursing in his heart, his phone rang. Little friend, this sovereign is about to descend to the lower realms. I will land at XXX. Can you come and pick me up? No problem. Yi Zichen immediately replied. After confirming the time, he took a jacket from the clothes rack and ran out. Zichen, food is about to be ready. I'm not eating. This child. Mother Yi shook her head, then returned to the kitchen and smiled helplessly toward Xiao Yumei. It seems like it's just us three again. Xiao Yumei merely smiled warmly in response. She was already used to this sort of situation. On the other hand, when Tian saw Yi Zichen leave, she pouted and chucked the game controller onto the floor, then ran up to the second floor. She tiptoed and grabbed the door handle. Chapter 433. Descending into the world, snowflakes filled the air, covering the ground with a white veil. When Yi Zichen looked over, all he could see was pure white. The people on the streets were all wrapped in thick clothes. Only a leather jacket like Yi Zichen could resist the cold, but the old man beside him, the old man seemed to be over 50 years old, while his hair and beard were the same color as the snow. However, what shocked Yi Zichen was that the old man was only wearing cloth clothes. Huh, I didn't expect the abandoned land of the heavenly court to have developed to such an extent. This is truly shocking. Tai Bai Jinxing exclaimed softly as he looked at the tall buildings and the endless stream of people. At that time, before this land was abandoned, I loved this land the most. I like the snow here. It feels very beautiful. Old man, stop reminiscing about it. Tell me, what are your plans for descending this time? What other plans can I have? Tai Bai Jinxing raised his eyebrows. I naturally came here to rely on you. Now that I don't have a celestial position, I have less than 10% of my original strength. I'm at most a mid-stage, human immortal. Oh yeah, give me back the cultivation experience I gave you before. With that, Tai Bai Jinxing took out his phone and acted like he was waiting for Yi Zichen to send him a red packet. Wait, I didn't hear it wrong, right? This geezer was asking for cultivation experience just now. Yi Zichen looked at him in confusion. Wasn't the cultivation experience for me? Why does he want it back? Why are you looking at me like that? Send the cultivation experience over to me. Tai Bai Jinxing shook his phone. Tai Bai Jinxing shook his phone. Yi Zichen immediately frowned. Isn't this cultivation experience for me? Tai Bai Jinxing instantly revealed a speechless expression, then raised his eyebrows. Are you kidding me? That's 10 billion cultivation experience. Give it to you. Do you think I'm stupid? This sudden attack truly caught Yi Zichen off guard. He had already spent a lot of cultivation experience, and now this geezer actually came over to ask for it. I thought that I became rich just now. F***CK. After all, he was just passing by. Send it. Tai Bai Jinxing frowned. Yi Zichen coughed and scratched his head. Can you connect to the internet then? What's wrong with that? Sigh, I really can't connect it. Tai Bai Jinxing was stunned. Then you should study the problem of this network. When you're done, I'll send it to you. Otherwise, even if I send it to you, you won't receive it. Yi Zichen already knew that he definitely couldn't connect to the internet. Erlang Shun and Yang Jian couldn't connect when they descended, so it would be strange if this geezer could. If he couldn't do it for the rest of his life, then his cultivation would stay with him for the rest of his life. Then, the cultivation would be his. Before he could fantasize enough, Tai Bai Jinxing, who was beside him, suddenly spoke. All right, now that we have internet, send me your cultivation experience. Pooh! He almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He raised his hand and snatched Tai Bai Jinxing's phone, glancing at the network on it. F***CK 4G. What the hell is this? How can this old man's phone connect to the modern world's 4G network? What did you do? I just happened to feel the existence of a network nearby, so I changed the code and connected. I made the Heavenly Courts network, so it's very simple to steal some from here. Tai Bai Jinxing said with a smile, then pointed at the social media app on his phone. I'm logged in. Send me the cultivation experience. Don't even think about it. Yi Zichen gripped his phone tightly. There's no such thing as returning something that is in lousy's hands. Little friend, what do you mean? Tai Bai Jinxing smiled, but his tone contained a hint of threat. You want to tell me that this geezer can't get this 10 billion cultivation experience back? That's right. Yi Zichen replied without blushing. Then he squinted his eyes. Xian Yuan. Io, what are you doing? I was taking a shower just now. Xian Yuan Xiang appeared in front of Yi Zichen barefoot in a bathrobe. Tai Bai Jinxing was shocked when he saw her. The artifact spirit of a divine artifact. Little friend, don't think that you can fight over treasures with this old man, just because you have a divine artifact, right? Although this old man returned the celestial position, my strength is not something that you can compare to. Tai Bai Jinxing snorted. Tai Bai Jinxing snorted with a smile. Yi Zichen smiled in response. 10 pieces. No reaction. The little fellow that would usually come out whenever he called her didn't come out this time. 10 pieces. Stop calling. If that little fellow plays with building blocks, he'll easily get trapped. Xian Yuan Xiang stretched lazily. Xian Yuan Xiang stretched lazily. Suddenly, the bathrobe on her body disappeared and was replaced with normal clothes. If you want to fight, I'm enough. Hey, old man, don't you dare bully my little brother in front of me. The three-leaf lotus mark on Yi Zichen's eyebrows lit up, while Xin Yuan's sword, which was on Yi Zichen's arm, also flew into her hand. Ha! A purple nether demonic energy suddenly appeared in everyone's line of sight. What's more, that familiar ha sound. Yi Zichen turned his head and saw several slimy monsters crawl out from a corner of the road. Xin Yuan, I noticed it a long time ago. Xin Yuan Xiang raised an eyebrow, and a beam of sword chi flew towards the two monsters, turning them into mist. This, Tai Bai Jinxing did not dwell on the issue of cultivation. Low-level abyssal. After fighting with the devil race for so many years, Tai Bai was very familiar with these monsters. Yi Zichen nodded non-committally, then frowned and snorted. These guys actually crawled out. How did they enter the modern world? Tai Bai Jinxing frowned in confusion. Doesn't the modern realm have self-protection measures? Shouldn't they be in the dimensional realm? It was supposed to exist in the other world, but these guys bit open the barrier. Yi Zichen replied with a frown, while Xin Yuan Xiang's brows knitted tightly together as well. Don't waste any more time. Hurry up and kill all the guys inside. Otherwise, just then, a few more cracks appeared in the space, and the slimy monster kept coming out. Bang, bang, bang. As Xin Yuan Xiang continuously waved her sword to kill the demonic creatures, Yi Zichen also frowned. Someone needs to guard this place. Someone needs to keep an eye on this place. You stay here and kill any monsters that come out. Then what about you? I won't be at ease if I don't protect you. Xin Yuan Xiang frowned. Yi Zichen merely gave her a comforting gaze. Don't worry, I'll be fine. As soon as he finished speaking, he took out the Otherworld Pass from his treasure chest. Chapter 434. His Highness, stop joking around. Yi Zichen was completely stunned the moment he entered the Otherworld. All he could see was a black mass of low-leveled slime abyssals and huge abyssals. What's going on? It's only been half a month. How did the abyssals here develop to such a scale? Weren't Wei Chun and company repairing and hunting during this period of time? The low-leveled slime abyssals continuously bit at the barrier between the otherworld and the modern realm. What was even more shocking was that the huge abyssals had already started to carry weapons in their hands. Bone clubs, blades. What's more, their movements were very organized, as if they were the supervisors of the low-leveled slime abyssals and were supervising them. They actually developed to such a scale. What have you guys been doing all this time? Tai Bai Jinxing's eyebrows were about to fly up into the sky. At that moment, his expression was extremely dark. Then, he quickly clenched his fist and muttered, "The Jade Emperor didn't listen to me. The Jade Emperor won't listen to me and send troops. If things continue like this, the modern realm will fall one day. After that, the three realms will be the ones suffering." Roar! All of a sudden, an angry roar sounded out from the huge abyssals' mouths. They seemed to have noticed Tai Bai and Yi Zichen's existence. Not long later, one of the abyssals with a bone club walked towards them. "Who are you guys?" Although the abyssals did not speak very fluently, they did say a complete sentence. At that moment, Yi Zichen was truly shocked. Monitor and speak. Did they really gain intelligence in such a short period of time, like Xin Yuan Xiang said? "Brat, we can't keep wasting time like this. The abyssals in front of us are already close to becoming high-leveled abyssals. They should be between the early stage and mid-stage of the human immortal level." It was very hard to imagine that Tai Bai, who had a deep grudge against the demons, would actually say retreat. It was clear that he felt pressured when facing such a large number of abyssals. How are we supposed to retreat in this situation? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes. At that moment, the huge abyssal also spoke up. "Don't get in our way. Leave or die. Attack." Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Then a golden light appeared in his hand as he swung it towards the abyssal. Dong! In an instant, the abyssal's chest was pierced through, and it fell powerlessly to the ground. A spiritual array also appeared beneath Tai Bai's feet. According to the ancient runes above the spiritual array, he was standing in the leaf fire position. Burn! A light chuckle came from his mouth, and not long after, streaks of heavenly fire descended from the void, incinerating the group of low-level abyssals. Roar! The two of them had only launched a surprise attack. After dealing with the giant abyssals and the low-level abyssals, the surrounding abyssals all raised their heads and looked over. The group of low-level slimy abyssals immediately turned around and crawled towards them as they chanted some strange runes. They were so densely packed that it was as if they had startled the beast tide. Behind them, the footsteps of the giant abyssals also echoed loudly. 1 yuan. In a situation like this, he could only use Soul Pearl Yuan's area of effect skill, but he forgot that Yuan hadn't followed him here. He had called out its name before, but there was no response. Intruder! The giant abyssals roared, then swung the rusty iron sword towards Yi Zichen without any hesitation. Move! Tai Bai Jinxing pushed Yi Zichen away from the attack range. Then the spiritual array under his feet changed from fire to gold. Great! Tai Bai Jinxing's white beard fluttered in the wind as he chopped down on the giant abyssal's blade. Ding! The blade was instantly cut in half. Then, the spiritual array below him returned to the Tao fire position, causing streaks of terrifying heavenly fire to descend from the sky. However, what was unimaginable was that the giant abyssals actually noticed where Tai Bai Jinxing wanted to attack. A protective barrier immediately appeared around Tai Bai Jinxing, blocking all of the heavenly fire. Horror! The slimy monsters continuously surged forward. Tai Bai Jinxing frowned, then glanced at the giant abyssals. Can you fly? Can you fly? If we continue fighting like this, those low-level abyssals will bite us to death. Whoosh! With that, a pair of wings appeared on Yi Zichen's back. Tai Bai Jinxing's expression drastically changed when he saw the wings. You don't think too much into it. I'm not a demon. As for why I have these wings, we'll talk about it after we deal with them. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes. The abyssals were evolving way too quickly. In a short span of half a month, they actually gained basic intelligence, and some of the giant abyssals were even able to use defensive spiritual techniques. If I allow them to continue growing like this, I wonder if they will evolve into true demons. However, the moment Yi Zichen unfurled the fallen's wings, the abyssals that were attacking them all stopped, while the slime monsters that were crawling forward also stopped under the fallen's command. What is it? Tai Bai Jinxing and Yi Zichen looked at each other. Not long later, an abyssal holding a bone club that was 50 meters tall walked out, knelt on one knee, and placed his right hand in front of his chest. Your Highness, I didn't know that you were here. Please do not blame us for our rudeness. The other giant abyssals also knelt down on one knee. As for the low-level abyssals, they breathed out purple air in confusion and did not move. Yi Zichen was also shocked. These abyssals actually call me Your Highness. It seems like they already thought that I'm a demon. Don't deny it. At this moment, Tai Bai Jinxing suddenly flew to his ear and whispered, Fallen devils don't evolve into demons. After all, their intelligence is limited. They see you as the highness of the demon race, so we'll just make the best of it. If we really fight, I'm not confident. Yi Zichen nodded heavily. He naturally understood all of this. He flapped his wings and flew a few meters forward. As he flapped his wings, the huge abyssals lowered their heads even more, as if they were afraid in their hearts. I didn't expect you to recognize me. The huge abyssal leader looked up. I wonder why Your Highness has come here. I'm here to see if you guys are working hard. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and snorted coldly. The abyssals on the ground quickly shook their heads. Your Highness, we have been working hard. Chapter 435. Ghoulie appears rebellion. The abyssals did not even dare to think of such a thought. The moment abyssals appeared, they would be branded with a mark that they could not rebel against. It could be said that they were the most loyal amongst the demons. Your Highness, we have no intention of rebelling. The leader of the huge abyssals looked up with bloodshot eyes. Yi Zichen merely snorted in response. You're still saying that you don't want to rebel? I saw a murderous glint in your eyes just now. You wanted to attack me, right? Do you want to kill your master and take over the throne? Your Highness, stop calling me Your Highness. I think you just want to rebel. If you have the ability, then kill me here right now. Otherwise, I'll immediately return to the demon race and tell the higher-ups that you Abyssals want to rebel. Then I'll kill all of you. All of the Abyssals, kneeling on the ground, lowered their heads in fear. As for the leader, he looked up and clenched his teeth. Don't worry, I won't be able to kill you. Meanwhile, the leader looked up and clenched his teeth. Your Highness, how can you believe that I don't have any intention of rebelling? Do you even need to ask me? Yi Zichen smiled. Only dead people are trustworthy. If you're truly loyal to the demons, then you should know what to do. According to Tai Bai Jinxing, this abyssal was the strongest amongst the group of abyssals, and also the one that posed the greatest threat to them. If they can use this chance to get rid of it, then it will be much easier for the two of them. The abyssal clenched his teeth and kneeled on the ground. After reaching the level of a high-level abyssal, he already possessed the ability to think. He knew very well that if he died, then all of his hard work would be for nothing. But if His Highness wants him dead, then how could he not die? All right, if Your Highness wants me to die, then I'll die. He raised the bone club in his right hand, which started to glow with a faint purple light, and swung it towards his head Dong. Did I succeed? Yi Zichen stared at the huge abyssal below him, only to see that the huge abyssal was still kneeling on the ground, while a young man appeared beside it. Yi Zichen, your methods are truly despicable, the young man said playfully. He snatched the huge abyssal's bone club and chucked it to the side, then looked up at Yi Zichen in the sky. You want to use this kind of method to kill them? Yi Zichen, I can't believe you've already learned to play dirty in just a few days. Your Highness Gu, the abyssal that was about to pledge his loyalty, looked up in shock. At that moment, Guli also smiled. Yi, don't think that just because he has wings, he is a demon's highness. He is at most a traitor of the demon race. Traitor? The huge abyssal looked at him in confusion. Guli nodded. You won't understand if I make it too complicated. Let me tell you this, he's an enemy of the demon race. Guli, you want to use them to kill me? Aren't your methods despicable? It was clear that the abyssal did not understand the situation. So Yi Zichen said that in order to confuse the abyssal and make it not know who to listen to. TSK, I didn't expect you to make some progress. Guli sneered and shook his head, then smiled at the abyssal. Fine, you don't have to deal with that traitor. However, you should be able to sense that the person beside him isn't a demon, right? Yes. The gigantic fallen demon leader nodded noncommittally. Very well, then go and deal with him. I have some things to talk about with this fallen highness. Guli smiled sinisterly. The huge abyssal hesitated for a moment, then stood up from the ground and let out a strange cry. The group of abyssals immediately let out a strange cry, while a pair of transparent wings grew out of the slimy monster's back and flew towards Tai Bai Jinxing's direction. Don't worry about this, old man. Kill that fallen. Tai Bai Jinxing clenched his teeth, then turned the spiritual formation under his feet into a wind position, while the huge abyssals and low-leveled abyssals all chased after him. Come down and have a chat? Guli squinted his eyes. After not seeing him for several days, his hair had already turned purplish red, while his skin had also turned bronze. A hint of red light could be seen in the depths of his eyes, while dense demonic energy surrounded him. However, the only thing that did not change was his sinister smile, as well as his face that made others want to punch him. Sorry, I don't have so much to say to you. With that, the silhouette of a huge dragon appeared behind Yi Zichen and roared. So annoying. Xin Yuan Xiang held the Xin Yuan sword in her hand and continuously chopped down the abyssals that crawled out from the cracks in the surrounding space. Although the abyssals were weak, they had an advantage in numbers. What's more, as more and more cracks appeared between the otherworld and the modern realm, she felt like she was running for her life. What's more, she was worried about Yi Zichen's situation. Screech, several tins of black MPVs stopped. Wei Chen jumped out in a silver robe, and ran in front of Xianyuan Xiang. Xiangjie, why are you here? You guys finally came. Yi Zichen already entered the other world. He told me to stay here. Since you guys are here, I'll leave this place to you. I have to return to his side. Xianyuan Xiang's tone was filled with urgency. Xianyuan Xiang's tone was filled with urgency. Wei Chen nodded noncommittally. I've already reported this to the relevant local departments. All the residents here will be evacuated later. When that happens, you don't have to suppress your abilities anymore. Brat, not bad. Xianyuan Xiang patted Wei Chen's shoulder. Then I'll be going back now. Zoom. Xianyuan Xiang immediately disappeared from the modern realm. At the same time, Wei Chen also called out to the surrounding members. Follow the original plan and carry out the mission. Bang. After the short exchange ended, both sides retreated to a safe position and looked at each other cautiously. During this period of time, Yi Zichen's strength had increased to a terrifying level. Even the dragon god had called him a monster more than once. However, Yi Zichen did not expect Gu Li's strength to be on par with his, and even seemed to be suppressing him. Yi Zichen not bad. Gu Li smiled sinisterly, but his heart was also in turmoil. He had paid a certain price for his current strength. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes. This time he did not wait for Yi Zichen to attack, and attacked first. F***CK off. A feminine shout suddenly sounded out in the air. Not long later, a shining Xianyuan sword appeared between Yi Zichen and Gu Li. Xianyuan Xiang, why did you come? Outside. Wei Chun and company already arrived. I was worried that you would be in danger. Xianyuan sword continuously swayed. At that moment, Gu Li suddenly smiled coldly. Divine artifact? Hee. Seriously. All of a sudden, a thick mist appeared beside him. At the same time, a playful smile appeared within the mist. Chapter 436. Chiyu Sword A man's voice sounded out from within the mist. However, the words caused both Xianyuan Xiang and Yi Zichen to be stunned. He actually knows Xianyuan Sword's sword spirit. When the mist dissipated, the man walked out. He was approximately 1.7 meters tall, wore a black robe, and had long hair that draped over his shoulders. His skin was white, and his eyes were long and narrow, with purplish-red eye bags. There was also a symbol of a ball of fire at the center of his eyebrows. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, and he raised his hand to touch the corner of his mouth. You're so alluring. I really can't help but want to eat you up. Dio. Xianyuan Xiang suddenly came out from the sword. Her eyes were filled with unconcealable rage, while she clenched her fists tightly and trembled. Hee. Even when she's angry, she's still so charming. No wonder I'm infatuated with her. Dio licked the corner of his mouth with his red tongue, then swept his venomous gaze across Yi Zichen. Ha! Is the person beside you the Yellow Emperor? Ha! Xianyuan Xiang snorted coldly, but did not reply. Dio smiled, then his gaze turned cold. One annoying guy. If it wasn't for that damn Xianyuan, you might have already been mine. But since you're still following him after so many years, it seems like you're also someone who gets played around with rotten. With that, Dio glanced at Yi Zichen. How is it? Xianyuan Xiang is living well, right? You actually can't bear to give up on her after so many years. She must have served you very well, right? Z's, humans and sword spirits are saved from trouble. At least you don't have to be responsible for her, right? You can go find her whenever you need her. It's rather convenient. Shut your dog mouth. Virum. A ray of sword energy suddenly slashed across Dio's face. Although he had already dodged immediately, it still left a mark on his face. Shrewish. Lousy likes it. Dio touched his face, then walked in front of Gu Li. I don't need you to do anything this time. I will use my full strength to kill that Yellow Emperor and steal Xianyuan's sword for me. Sure. Gu Li nodded. Xianyuan Xiang's eyes widened. She looked at Gu Li in shock, then squinted her eyes and walked in front of Yi Zichen. Who is this guy? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes. That grandson's blabbering had already angered him a bit. He is the sword spirit of the Chiyu sword, Dio, if I'm not mistaken. The person holding the sword should be the reincarnation of Chiyu. I really didn't expect that the two of them would be together again, but there's still a good match. Xianyuan Xiang snorted lightly, her tone filled with disdain towards them. However, Yi Zichen was not so calm. Chiyu, doesn't that mean that Gu Li is my destined enemy? In the blink of an eye, he suppressed the shock. This was good as well. They were already standing on opposite sides, so there was no room for reconciliation. He was benevolent enough to spare Gu Li's life, but Chiyo's reincarnation was enough reason to kill him. Shua! At that moment, Xianyuan Xiang had already returned to Xianyuan's sword. The sword rose into the air and circled around Yi Zichen. At the same time, Dio also disappeared. Then, a black longsword appeared in between Gu Li's eyebrows. The sword was surrounded by a black mist, and it was obvious that it was not anything good. Xianyuan Xiang, are you ready to enjoy this lord's attack? While Dio talked trash in Chiyo's sword, Xianyuan Xiang also controlled Xianyuan's sword to fly to the front and snorted. If you were half as strong as you are when talking trash, then Chiyu wouldn't have lost so badly back then. That's because he's useless. Dio snickered without any hesitation, being soft-hearted at the very end, that it can only be said that he deserves to die. Xianyuan Xiang ignored it, and said to Yi Zichen in her heart, no need to be soft-hearted. Kill them. I would have done it even if you didn't say that. Yi Zichen raised his hand and held the hilt of Xianyuan's sword. All of a sudden, a blinding golden light shone around Yi Zichen's body. A faint aura of an emperor surrounded him, causing even the purple mist in the other world to disperse a bit from his golden light. Brat, don't hold back either. Kill him for this lord. Boom! Black mist emanated from Gu Li's body, and the mark of a flame gradually appeared on his forehead. The black mist and golden light occupied the two sides of the other world. Both sides were accumulating power, and neither of them attacked recklessly. Crack! A pebble was unable to withstand the pressure from both sides and exploded. At the same time, the two of them attacked simultaneously. Clang! The swords clashed mercilessly, while Yi Zichen glanced at Gu Li coldly. Sword slash, 8 directions. Instantly, several streaks of sword energy appeared around Gu Li and flew towards him. He kicked Yi Zichen's chest, then retreated rapidly. Break! Yi Zichen quickly waved Chiyo's sword in his hand and slashed all of the sword chi into the air. At the same time, a cold smile surfaced on his face. Ghost domain. Countless howls sounded out. Yi Zichen looked up and saw countless crying little ghosts leaping towards him. This is an illusion. Yuan, this child, he's not here when I need him. Xianyuan Xiang shouted from within the Xianyuan sword. However, Yi Zichen merely closed his eyes without panicking. Since it's an illusion, then it's a technique to confuse the eyes. It's fine as long as I don't look. Hey, here. Yi Zichen, who had his eyes closed, suddenly turned around and slashed behind him. Gu Li, who was about to launch a sneak attack, cursed silently, then raised his sword and clashed with Yi Zichen's sword. Nicely done, little brother. Lianyang caught them. Xianyuan's sword's spirit smiled excitedly, then instantly shone with a bright golden light. Ugh! Gu Li coughed up a mouthful of blood and was sent flying backwards. Biting his lips hard, he raised the sword in his hand and stabbed it deep into the ground. Even so, he still flew back several tens of meters before stopping. Brat, hold your breath. Laozi will transfer my own power to you. Dio roared angrily within the Chiyu sword. If it was in the past, Gu Li would have already nodded in agreement, but this time he merely wiped his lips and charged over with bloodshot eyes. Why should I be weaker than Yi Zichen? We both have divine artifacts. Why should I be weaker than Yi Zichen? I reincarnated as Chiyu, but Dio reincarnated as the Yellow Emperor. Why should I always be weaker than Yi Zichen no matter what? I am the main character of this world. Yi Zichen is only worthy to be a stepping stone for me. Virum, as if the Chiyu sword in Gu Li's hand felt his determination, the sword spirit Dio also felt the energy that Gu Li continuously transferred into the blade. Whoosh! Chiyu's sword continuously waved. Not long later, a huge beam of sword chi shot out from the blade. Chapter 437. Chapter 437. Su Yun's strength, the sword energy pierced through the air. It was so powerful that even the space itself seemed like it was about to be sliced apart. The pebbles on the ground continuously exploded, turning into dust that followed behind the sword energy like the tail of a comet. Yi Zichen dodge, Xin Yuan Xiang shouted from within the sword. Even she felt her heart palpitate when she felt the presence of the sword energy. It was clear that Yi Zichen had already grasped the basics of illuminated sword heart. That sword intent was able to increase his strength by more than 10 times. Yi Zichen, what are you blanking out for? Move aside. Xin Yuan Xiang was extremely anxious when she saw that Yi Zichen was not moving. She practically wanted to use her own strength to drag him away. Don't move. At that moment, Yi Zichen spoke up. Hearing that, Xin Yuan Xiang immediately shouted angrily in his sea of consciousness. What nonsense are you talking about? Do you want to block it? Uh-huh. Yi Zichen nodded. Yi Zichen nodded, then slowly raised his arm with the hilt of his sword. Hey, don't be stupid. Xin Yuan Xiang shouted. If Yi Zichen really blocked it, then both of us would be screwed. Don't be scared. Yi Zichen smiled. A faint smile surfaced on Yi Zichen's face. He suddenly looked up at the sword energy that was gradually closing in on him. Is this your determination? Yi Zichen shook his head, then sighed. If this is your determination, then that is truly too disappointing. Boom! A berserk aura was suddenly released from Yi Zichen's body. The sword spirit Xin Yuan Xiang was also stunned when she sensed it. This, even a complete stage human immortal would not be able to match that. I chose to bear countless sins in order to obtain Xin Yuan's sword. You are far from being able to match my determination. The light on Xin Yuan's sword's blade became brighter and brighter. Then, Yi Zichen looked down with a profound look in his eyes. Slash! Yi Zichen instantly swung Xin Yuan's sword and released 100-meter-long sword energy. The moment the sword energy appeared, the mountains and rivers of the other world shattered, while cracks appeared on the ground. Break! As Yi Zichen roared, his sword energy sliced through Gu Li's sword energy without pause, then continued mercilessly towards Gu Li. I'm impossible. Gu Li's eyes twitched violently as he shook his head. He refused to believe that his resolute sword energy couldn't even withstand a single blow. Hurry up and run. What are you standing there for? Dio roared angrily within the Chiyu sword, but Gu Li had already completely lost his mind. F***CK. Dio cursed angrily, then controlled the Chiyu sword to leave Gu Li's hand. He did not want to die together with that retard. Haha, as a sword spirit, you actually abandon your master. Truly shameful. A playful chuckle sounded in Dio's ears. Before he could regain his senses, he was already caught by someone. At the same time, that person slowly walked to Gu Li's side and looked at the sword energy. He's grown up. Suddenly, a huge palm appeared in the sky, grabbing the sword chi and crushing it with all its might. Hey, brat, come back to your senses. Only then did Gu Li return to his senses. When he saw the young man in front of him, he immediately grabbed the young man's pants and shouted, Kill him! Kill him! Kill that guy! F***CK off! Why am I so annoying? The young man kicked Gu Li away, then turned towards Yi Zichen with a smile. Zichen, long time no see. Su Iyun. This time, Yi Zichen's expression was very calm. He looked calmly at the man standing 100 meters away from him. Even now, I still don't believe that you would truly join the demon race, but it seems like I have no choice but to believe it. Hee hee, you're still so friendly. Su Iyun smiled and shrugged. I came for this brat this time. I heard that he's a fallen, so the demons are very worried about him. I have to bring him back safely. I don't think that's possible. Su Iyun smiled and shrugged. Yi Zichen smiled, then walked forward step by step. However, before he even walked a few meters, he felt like he was bound into space. Yi Zi, you should understand me. I won't fight a battle I'm not confident in. I already placed a seal around you when I came. Formation Master, you truly aren't just for show. Amazing. OL3, you've become stronger. I've always been strong. All right, let's not waste any more time. This person, I'm taking him away. Su Iyun grabbed Gu Li's collar with a smile and prepared to leave Bang. The moment he turned around, A huge sound rang out in the sky. You're using the same old trick again. Do you think I'll fall for it again? Yi Zichen smiled and walked over with Xian Yuan's sword in tow. As he walked, he continuously waved the blade in front of him. These were all seals left behind by Su Yiyun. Su Yiyun suddenly laughed. He did not place any more spiritual formations and merely waited silently for Yi Zichen to walk in front of him. You leave, you leave. Yi Zichen raised Xian Yuan's sword and pointed it at Gu Li, who was sitting limply on the ground. You still want to let me go even now? Su Yiyun smiled wryly. However, Gu Li snorted with a frown. Don't bullshit with him so much. Su Yiyun, just kill him. He is the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. Can Xian Yuan's sword prove everything? Laozi doesn't recognize Xian Yuan's sword. Bang! He kicked Gu Li, then raised his head and said, Don't worry about me. Is Su Yin doing well? Thanks to you. She's lying very peacefully in the ward right now. Yi Zichen's hands trembled slightly as he said that, but he forced himself not to show it. Is that so? She's actually still alive. Su Yiyun smiled sinisterly, but his words touched Yi Zichen's nerves. Are you King human? Still alive? She's your little sister. I said it already. She's not my little sister. Su Yiyun squinted his eyes, then grabbed Gu Li, who was on the ground. That's it for now. I'm rather busy with the demons, so I don't have time to waste with you. Bye. Do you think you can take him away? Yi Zichen took a step forward, then noticed that he was already 100 meters away from Su Yun. They were clearly very close just a moment ago. CK, he's gone. Yi Zichen clenched his fist angrily. Just as he was about to chase, Yi Zi, see you in the future. Bang! Yi Zichen smashed his fist onto the ground. He did not expect Su Yiyun's mastery of spiritual formations to be so high. He was actually able to lay down such a formation with just a few words. Phantom Maze Formation. This is a spiritual formation that only a level 6 formation master can lay down. What's more, even they would need spirit stones and time to lay it down. Your friend is a bit too ridiculously strong. Xian Yuan Xiang also came out of the Xian Yuan sword and sighed softly. Chapter 438. Are you interested in becoming the master of the 3 realms? Demon Realm. The glorious palace was gloomy. A black-robed man sat on the highest seat in the palace. He held a glass of blood-like viscous alcohol in his hand and continuously swirled it. Below him, Su Yiyun stood proudly, a hint of disdain on his face. As for Gu Li, who he saved, he stood roughly half a meter away from him. Gu Li, you're saying that Su Yiyun intentionally wanted to let our mission target go. The man on the high seat smiled faintly. His curled lips made it hard for others to guess what he was really thinking at this moment. Lord Black Dragon, everything I said is the truth. In the other world, the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation held the Xian Yuan sword. I already clearly told Su Yiyun his identity, but he told me that he didn't recognize the Xian Yuan sword and attacked me. Gu Li bowed. Lord Black Dragon smiled faintly, then glanced at Su Yiyun. Lil Su, what do you say? Lil Su, what do you say? I have nothing to say, Su Yiyun replied without changing his expression. But Little Goose said that to our devil race you are guilty. Lord Black Dragon still had a faint smile on his face, but there was a hint of warning in his tone. I don't want to waste too much time talking about something that doesn't exist. I went to the other world because you told me to save this brat. Even if that person really is the Yellow Emperor, what does that have to do with me? Su Yiyun shrugged. If you think I'm wrong, then I'll leave the demon race. What do you think? Lil Su is still so domineering. Lord Black Dragon squinted his eyes and smiled. Gu Li also sneered and cursed. Lord Black Dragon, did you hear that? He even wants to betray the demon race. This kind of person cannot be left alive. Also, whatever nonsense he said, Dio was there as well. Why don't we find him and confront him? Grandson, if you keep messing around with me, I feel like I should just kill you right here. Su Yiyun tilted his head, and a hint of indifference flashed across his eyes. Gulp. Gu Li instinctively gulped, then took 2 steps back. Black Dragon, who sat high above, chuckled and said, Don't worry, you'll be fine. All right, this matter ends here. Little Sue only went to the other world to save you. As for the Yellow Emperor, he doesn't know. In a moment, I'll have someone send the Yellow Emperor's mission to Little Sue's residence. Next time, I hope this won't happen again. Su Iyun didn't hesitate in the slightest. He left the palace without looking back. The moment he left, Guli frowned darkly and snorted, "Your Excellency, Black Dragon, just look at him. He doesn't care about you at all." "All right, I said that this matter ends here." A hint of anger surfaced on Black Dragon's face. Seeing this, Guli didn't dare say another word. "Stand down." There was no need to doubt Black Dragon's words. Guli obediently left the palace. Only then did Lord Black Dragon pour the blood-like wine into his mouth. His tongue licked the corner of his mouth as a meaningful smile appeared on his face. "Boss, it's more or less cleaned up." Wei Chen nodded, then walked in front of Yi Zichen. At that moment, Yi Zichen was discussing something with Tai Bai Jinxing. When he saw Wei Chen walk over, he immediately turned around and raised his eyebrows. "What do you think? It's almost been cleaned up. We'll leave a small team here to clean up the aftermath." Yi Zichen nodded. "All right, then I'll leave the rest to you guys." "All right." After leaving the other world and returning to the modern realm, Yi Zichen subconsciously looked at the gap that had been torn open when he entered. Fortunately, the gap had already been repaired by Wei Chun and the others. Even though these gaps have been repaired, the gaps repaired by spiritual energy can only prevent the leakage of nether demonic energy. If something as large as the one just now happens again, these gaps are nothing more than a piece of scrap paper to them. Tai Bai Jinxing narrowed his eyes and replied with a solemn tone. He, who had fought with the devil race many times, knew very well that these were just appetizers. If the devil race was really prepared to attack the modern world, it was only a matter of time before it fell. Just now, he'd already probed the strength of the people by Yi Zichen's side. Compared to demons, they were still too weak. Let's take it one step at a time. Yi Zichen also sighed. He already felt tired after dealing with so many giant abyssals. If it was a true demon attack strength, absolute strength was needed. Ignoring everyone else, even Su Iyun himself felt a hint of helplessness when he faced Yi Zichen. It wasn't just Yi Zichen's mastery in formations. Didn't Yi Zichen also effortlessly crush my sword energy? Oh yeah, Tai Bai, didn't you say that you had something you wanted to discuss with me in the other world? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows as he strolled along the street. Tai Bai Jinxing was stunned for a moment, then raised his eyebrows. Then say it. At that moment, the two of them were in the same boat. They were bound together for good or bad. I thought too much back then. I feel like there's no need to tell you now. Tai Bai Jinxing shrugged. Yi Zichen immediately rolled his eyes. If you want to say it, then hurry up and say it. Why are you taking so long? So what if I say it? What I want to talk about is the reputation of the three realms. Do you know what reputation is? Tai Bai Jinxing replied in annoyance, then rolled his eyes and snorted. Just cultivate properly. You should focus on your cultivation. Don't meddle in everything. Reputation. Was this old man talking about the inexplicable prestige he had obtained? Yi Zichen raised his hand and tapped Tai Bai Jinxing's shoulder, then handed his phone over and raised his eyebrows as he pointed at the 227 reputation. Are you talking about this thing? What? Tai Bai Jinxing frowned. When he saw the reputation on the top of the phone. Reputation? You actually have reputation? But why is it displayed on social media? We are all displayed on the top of the leaderboard. Yi Zichen had no right to say anything about that. He didn't understand what Tai Bai Jinxing was talking about at all. Leaderboard. This thing has a leaderboard? Never mind. Your existence itself is rather strange. But since you have reputation, then that's great. Tai Bai Jinxing shook his head, while a hint of struggle flashed across his eyes. Tai Bai Jinxing shook his head while a trace of struggle flashed through the space between his brows. And then he said, Are you interested in playing as the master of the three dimensions? Yi Zichen looked up in confusion and looked at Tai Bai Jinxing's aged face. Chapter 439. Chapter 439. Third Fatty Gene returns to the immortal region. Just what the hell is this geezer talking about? Master of the three realms. Yi Zichen didn't even understand what was going on in the modern realm. But this geezer actually wants him to be the master of the three realms. Are the Jade Emperor and the Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens that easy to bully? Doesn't being the master of the three realms mean that I have to ride on top of them? Yi Zichen felt that it was impossible. Brat, what's with that expression? From what I see, you should be rather ambitious. You don't want to be the master of the three realms, the supreme ruler of the three realms? Tai Bai Jinxing smiled faintly. He already had this idea when he descended to the lower realm. The three realms have been peaceful for far too long, so much so that it was slowly turning into internal strife. The demons' ambitions were definitely not limited to the modern realm. Their goal was definitely the three realms and even higher realms. They needed the power of the three realms to fight against the demons. But the leaders of the three realms all had their own agendas. They had to choose a master that could command the three realms, and he felt like Yi Zichen was a good candidate. All of the top fighting forces in the heavenly court were in this brat's hands. As for the underworld, he refused to believe that this brat wouldn't know any powerful people. More importantly, his identity allowed him to wield the Xinyuan sword. He was the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. Back then, the Yellow Emperor was one of the higher-ups in the Rogue Immortal region. If he truly became the master of the three realms, then the Immortal region would definitely support him. That way, it would be much easier for the struggle of the three realms to have supporters in the three realms. Don't think too highly of me. Ambition has to be built on one's own strength. I'm merely a puny earth immortal right now. Don't you think it's ridiculous for you to ask me to be the master of the three realms? Yi Zichen rolled his eyes in annoyance. He was ambitious, but that didn't mean he was brainless. In any case, he believed that he couldn't beat the Jade Emperor and the Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens, even if he had the support of the Rogue Immortals. If they could really fight against two realms, then they wouldn't have to split the three realms with the heavenly court and the underworld. Brat, don't overcomplicate things. I'm simply asking you if you want to be the master of the three realms for fun. Let's put your worries aside for now. Of course I want to. If I don't want to, there's something wrong with my brain. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. Master of the three realms? That sounded like a rather domineering existence. Who wouldn't want it? If that's the case, then it's enough. Tai Bai Jinxing's eyes flashed as he smiled meaningfully. Yi Zichen felt like he had been tricked when he saw the old man's cunning smile. Hey, don't tell me you're trying to trick me again. Yi Zichen subconsciously stopped. Tai Bai Jinxing shook his head with a smile. How could that be? We're comrades. From now on, I will train you to become the lord of the three realms. As long as you agree, I will give you my Tao as a present. Cough, cough. One who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. But even though Yi Zichen understood, he had no way of refusing. That was 10 billion cultivation experience. Even though he knew this old man was digging a hole for him, he could only close his eyes and jump in. Phew, can I ask you a question? Ask away. Tai Bai Jinxing smiled faintly. Why do you want to train me to be the lord of the three realms? Wasn't the Jade Emperor of the Heavenly Court a better candidate? He is the lord of a realm, and his strength is terrifyingly strong. Don't you think that your question is very stupid? I've already left the Heavenly Court. Tai Bai Jinxing rolled his eyes in annoyance. Do you think I'm willing to spend so much effort to train a newbie like you? But even if I didn't leave, the Jade Emperor isn't a good candidate. Why? The three realms have been peaceful for far too long. The Jade Emperor has already lost his edge. Right now, he's mediocre, useless. He's living a comfortable life. He isn't suitable to be the lord of the three realms. Especially in a situation like this, the lord of the three realms needs a hot-blooded person. Tai Bai Jinxing squinted his eyes with a smile, then patted Yi Zichen's shoulder. No matter if it's you or me, we both need this chance. If we want to fight against the demons, then just the amount of people you have is not enough. Work hard for the goal of becoming the lord of the three realms. Even if the chances of success are slim, we can't give up. For some reason, Tai Bai Jinxing's hopeful and slightly helpless gaze moved Yi Zichen's heart. Yi Zichen nodded blankly, then raised his eyebrows. Then how am I going to be the lord of the three realms? Wait for the day of the struggle for the three realms. Tai Jinxing squinted his eyes and replied. Yi Zichen arrived at the apartment near Polytechnic University. Tai Jinxing had to arrange a place for him to stay in the lower realm. Yi Zichen pushed open the door and wanted to introduce his roommates to the fatty, but he didn't expect. The moment he pushed open the door, a pungent smell of moisture blew out from the room. When Yi Zichen entered the room, he saw that the coffee table and the floor were covered in a faint layer of dust. Coupled with the moisture in the room, it was clear that no one had lived there for a long time. Fatty! Yi Zichen shouted a few times, but did not get any response from the fatty. Just as he was wondering where the fat man had gone, he noticed a note on top of the coffee table in the room. Boss Yi, esteemed master contacted me and told me to return to the Three Realms. Thank you for taking care of me during this period of time. If fate allows it, then let's meet again in the Three Realms. The fatty actually returned to the Three Realms. Tai casually placed the piece of paper on the table. With a doubtful expression, he picked up the piece of paper and read it once before opening his mouth to speak. Someone from the Three Realms used to live in this room. You've actually been living with someone from the Three Realms? Yi Zichen ignored Tai Jinxing's exclamation. He was thinking about the reason for the fatty's departure. Great Emperor Qing Ming had pushed the fatty over for no reason. Not only did the fatty not help Yi Zichen at all, what's more, the fatty caused quite a bit of trouble for Yi Zichen. Now, this fatty was summoned back to the Three Realms for no reason. Just what is Great Emperor Qing Ming doing? Hey, brat. Tai Jinxing also asked relentlessly. Yi Zichen turned around and frowned. Don't always call me brat. I have a name, Yi Zichen. Are you getting mad at this old man? Tai Jinxing frowned. Yi Zichen immediately summoned Xianyuan's sword when he saw Tai Jinxing's unfriendly expression. You can't bully my lil bro, Xianyuan Xiang smiled. Xianyuan Xiang smiled faintly. When he saw the spirit of the Xianyuan sword, Tai Jinxing also rubbed his beard resentfully. He silently chanted a clear breeze technique to blow away the moisture and dust in the room, then sat down on the sofa. Don't try to scare me. We have a backer. Yi Zichen snorted and sat down opposite him. Tai Jinxing merely rolled his eyes. If he had the strength he had back when he was a god, then not to mention the sword spirit, even Yellow Emperor Xianyuan would only be a little bro. Yi Zichen couldn't help but laugh when he saw Tai Jinxing's embarrassed look. He opened WeChat on his phone and glanced at the members of the Red Packet server. Chapter 440. A familiar smell-the-chain reaction of Tai Jinxing leaving the Heavenly Court was that the number of members in the Red Packet server skyrocketed. At that moment, there were more than 100 members in the group. There were great immortals of the Heavenly Courts, as well as the Heavenly Soldiers and Heavenly Generals protecting the Heavenly Courts. However, their sole purpose in coming to this group was to seek the truth. Immortality Peach Fairy. Great deity has appeared, but why did you come up to ask for a red packet? Followed by a row of speechless emojis. This little girl could be said to be the most gossipy person in the Heavenly Court. As long as there was gossip, there would be her presence. God of Thunder, what red packets are you talking about? Don't you know how poor I am? Mother of Lightning, ditto. Canopy Marshal, look at what old pig said. You guys don't believe me when I say that you have to give out red packets when you join the group. Erlang Shun, yeah, give me a red packet. Old Lord Taishang, send a red envelope. Immortality Peach Fairy, wow. Big Brother Pig, Big Brother Yang Jian, Old Lord, I haven't seen you in a long time. Monkey King, hee I, old son, I'm here too. God of Thunder. Oh, isn't everyone here again? All right, I'll just stay here for now on. Anyway, that bunch in the Heavenly Court is like a pool of stagnant water. So boring. Mother of Lightning, ditto. Yi Zichen was rather moved by this. When he first entered the Heavenly Court's chat group, these people were the most active. However, many things happened later on, and the members were scattered. Who would have thought that they would be able to meet again in their own group? She shook her head and smiled. She remembered that he was a typical lurker when he first joined. He would sneak in the group every day to wait for red packets. In the blink of an eye, so much time had passed. Don't be so emotional. Since we're all together now, shouldn't we show off our glory and send some red packets? This group is called the Red Packet server. Do you think it's called that for nothing? He smiled faintly and sent a message in the group. The immortals in the group immediately started to complain about how poor they were. Immortality Peach Fairy. Sky Sovereign is a bad person. He lets you earn our cultivation experience every day and even wants us to send red packets. God of Thunder. I'm one of the poor. Canopy Marshal. I think your miser stingy. After being in the heavenly court for so long, Old Pig has never seen you send red packets. Erlang Shun, yeah right. Monkey King, ditto. God of Thunder. Hey, you guys, when did you start wearing the same pants? Old Lord Taishang. Our revolutionary friendship isn't something you can understand. Little Lei, you're still too young. Mother of Lightning. Has Lao Jun and Great Deity formed a united front? Yu Lao, cough cough. God of Fortune. Since none of you are giving out red packets, I'll set an example. Ding dong. As soon as he finished speaking, the God of Fortune sent out a red envelope. Since Yizichin didn't have the habit of snatching red packets for a long time, his reaction was slightly slower. He was too slow, and the red packets were all snatched up. Not bad. It felt like when I first joined the group. Looking at the others' luck, it was no surprise that Yang Jian had the lowest. Monkey King. Erlang Shun, my son, is 1 yuan bao enough to eat? Erlang Shun. Monkey, don't think that Lousy is still the same Yang Jian for back then. Lousy doesn't lack this bit of ingots. Old Lord Taishang. TSK, TSK, TSK. Ever since Fight the Landlord appeared, Yang Jian's words have become more forceful. But don't you know who you won that money from? Erlang Shun. Don't blame me for being muddle-headed. Yu Lao. Are you saying that I'm senile? Erlang Shun. Even if I don't say it, we all know it. It was as if Yang Jian was born with a halo of hatred. Even Yi Zichen couldn't help but want to beat him up when he saw what he said. The other deities in the group also acted as if they were watching a show and shouted for them to fight. Amongst them, Immortality Peach Fairy shouted the loudest. Tai Bai Jinxing, what are you all shouting for? The moment Tai Bai Jinxing appeared, all the deities in the group ignored Yang Jian and company's fight. Immortality Peach Fairy. Tai Bai Jinxing, great deity. This little reporter wants to interview you. Why did you leave the Heavenly Court? Is it because the Heavenly Court has some dark secrets that we don't know about? God of Thunder, the one above is right. Another question. Why did you return all of your celestial positions? Mother of Lightning, the one above asked a beautiful question. Another question. Rumor has it that you had a special relationship with the Jade Emperor back then. May I ask if this is true? Canopy Marshal. What kind of weird question is this? Monkey King. Why don't I, old son, understand? Idiot. Explain it to old Sunday Erlang Shun. They just want to ask if Geezer Tai Bai is the Jade Emperor's lover. Yu Lao. Yang Jian, you exploded. Old Lord Taishang. Yang Jian, you exploded. Erlang Shun, what happened to me? Just as Yang Jian was confused, Yi Zichen, who was sitting in the same room as Tai Bai Jinxing, felt a cold aura surge towards him. He subconsciously looked up and saw that Tai Bai Jinxing's old face had already turned purplish red. Geezer, calm down. Yang Jian said that, don't go crazy in front of me. This house is rather expensive. You can't afford to pay for it if you break it. Yi Zichen gulped and replied. Tai Bai Jinxing acted as if he didn't hear half of it, while the cold aura around him became even denser. Tai Bai Jinxing. Erlang Shun. Something went wrong with this old man's phone just now. Can you explain it to me one more time? Erlang Shun. What kind of crappy phone is that? How about I give you one? I said just now, the question they want to ask is whether you are the Jade Emperor's lover. Yu Lao. Old Lord Taishang. Canopy Marshal. Yi Zichen. Should Yang Jian say that he was honest or stupid? He actually said it again. Tai Bai Jinxing, who was in the room, clenched his teeth so hard that they nearly shattered. Yi Zichen did not doubt that if Yang Jian was there, he would very likely be chopped into pieces. Tai Bai Jinxing. Yang Jian, you've grown up. Erlang Shun. It's all because of your teachings. Immortality Peach Fairy. Why do I smell something different? Ahem. Then this little reporter will leave first. God of Thunder, ditto. Mother of Lightning, ditto. Tai Bai Jinxing. Good teaching. You really are good teaching. Let's get together when we have time. I'll definitely give you a good lesson. Pagoda-bearing heavenly kingly. Oh wow, did I oldly miss something? Third Prince Neza. Hello, Grandpa Tai-Bai. Tai-Bai jinxing, good boy. Pagoda-bearing heavenly kingly. Tai-Bai. Oldly, I never understood why you left the heavenly court. Oldly, I know you want to get rid of demons, just tell me. Erlang Shun, Yang Jian, and my Neza, can't the three of us help you? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows when he saw the message. I actually nearly forgot. Although Yang Jian's bro is rather unreliable, and Third Prince Neza is a silly Shota, the two of them are truly generals of the heavenly court, and both of them have a large number of subordinates. Erlang Shun, Geezerly, don't say it like that. I'm already standing on Tai-Bai's side. Pagoda-bearing heavenly kingly, oh? You're saying that you'll send troops to help Tai-Bai? Erlang Shun, since my bro said that he's going to help this geezer, then I'll naturally help. Monkey King, my old son will also help. Recently, I've been teaching my monkeys on Mount Huagua. Chapter 441. To form a clique, pagoda-bearing heavenly kingly, who was chatting in the heavenly palace, was stunned. It seemed like he was the only one without a team. To be honest, most of his words were just for show. Although he was a general of the heavenly courts and had military power, he was still the Jade Emperor's subordinate. The Jade Emperor had ordered the immortals of the heavenly court to be prohibited from interacting with Tai-Bai jinxing. The fact that he could come to this group was already giving him a lot of face. However, Yang Jian and the ruffian monkey's words had obviously put him in a difficult position. For a moment, he didn't know how to respond. Monkey King, pagoda-bearing heavenly kingly, old manly, where are you? Immortality Peach Fairy. Let me ask you a secret. What is exorcism? God of Thunder. Little Fairy is asking so many questions that shouldn't be asked. But then again, the Jade Emperor, Erlang Shun, I almost forgot. God of Thunder, you also have quite a bit of military power, right? God of Thunder, ahem, Tai-Bai jinxing. This old man doesn't mean to make things difficult for you. If you think it's difficult, just pretend that this old man never said it. Pagoda-bearing heavenly kingly. Tai-Bai, you're treating me like an outsider. God of Thunder, that's right. To be honest, we do have military power. We have been colleagues in the heavenly court for so many years, and we sincerely want to help you. But at the end of the day, we are under the jurisdiction of the Jade Emperor. Pagoda-bearing heavenly kingly, I agree with the one above. Erlang Shun, to put it bluntly, it's just cowardice. Look at how the monkey, and I didn't think so much. Mother of Lightning, you have a screw loose in your head. Everyone in the heavenly court knows that. Erlang Shun, you little bitch, why did you start cursing when I was just talking? Mother of Lightning, little bitch? Erlang Shun, it's a respectful title for beautiful women. Mother of Lightning, oh, then I'm indeed a little bitch. Unbeknownst to them, Yang Jian's words instantly made little bitch popular in the heavenly court. As long as they met a pretty girl, there would be people calling her little bitch. Of course, this was all for later. While the people in the group were trying to form alliances, Yi Zichen didn't stay idle in private. Yi Zichen clicked on a Third Prince Neza's chat interface. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen felt a bit sad when he saw the cute Shota's profile picture. If he really had to bluff this little guy, he would feel a little guilty. But very quickly, he threw away his conscience. Compared to his life, the modern world, and the three realms, how much was conscience worth? Ahem, Third Prince, what are you doing? Neza, who was playing ball with the Immortality Peach Fairy in the Heavenly Court's Immortality Peach Garden, put down the ball and smiled at the Immortality Peach Fairy. Immortality Peach sis, wait for me. The Sky Sovereign just sent me a message. And then hurry up and talk to the Sky Sovereign. Big Sister will be watching from the side. Immortality Peach Fairy chuckled. Third Prince Neza nodded his head, then tapped the screen and replied, Sky Sovereign, I'm playing football with Immortality Peach Big Sister. Why are you looking for me? The Peaches of Immortality are still here? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes, but quickly ignored the Immortality Peach Fairy. This girl's temperament was only 17 or 18 years old. If it really couldn't be done, she would be tricked by both of them. The third prince is actually playing football with little sister Immortality Peach. How elegant. Ah, the Sky's Sovereign called me little sister. Immortality Peach Fairy giggled as she jumped around in the back. Third Prince Neza also giggled and nodded as he replied, "Yes, yes. How can your reply be so simple?" Immortality Peach Fairy smacked the third prince's head, then snatched the phone over. "Sky Sovereign, do you want to acknowledge Immortality Peach Fairy as your little sister? She's a smart, lively, cute, smart, generous, gentle, and kind girl." Yizichin immediately guessed that the person who sent the message was most likely Immortality Peach Fairy. He let out a soft sigh speechlessly, then replied, "Immortality Peach Fairy, it's you, right?" I can't hide it from the Sky Sovereign." Immortality Peach Fairy giggled. Immortality Peach Fairy giggled. Yizichin replied on his phone, "Actually, I do want you to be my stepsister. What do you think? Really? If the Sky Sovereign doesn't mind, then I'm too willing." Immortality Peach Fairy replied without thinking. It was a blessing to be Sky Sovereign nameless little sister. With an older brother like that, she would have a huge backer in the heavenly court. What's more, she was filled with curiosity towards this mysterious Sky Sovereign. "That's for the best." Yizichin smiled. "Give the phone to the third prince. I have some things I want to discuss with him." "All right," Yizichin replied happily. Then, Immortality Peach Fairy handed the phone to third Prince Neza and put her hands on her hips. "Make sure to talk properly with the Sky Sovereign." "Uh-huh." Third Prince Neza nodded, then replied on his phone. "Sky Sovereign, is there something you need from me?" "You really guessed it." Yizichin thought to himself, then typed out a reply. "I heard that the third prince controls the military in the heavenly court." "Yeah, I might be small, but I have more soldiers than my dad." Third Prince Neza curled his lips proudly. Neza smirked. Actually, he said that for Peach Blossom to see. He was a man. No matter how old he was, he would always show off his strong side in front of the girl he liked. However, those words were not so simple in Yizichin's eyes. More soldiers than pagoda-bearing heavenly kingly. That's definitely huge military power. I'm weak right now. If I could trick the third prince, ahem, make it become my teammate, then that's a huge fighting force. Does the third prince like to be a righteous hero? Of course I do. Third Prince Neza replied without thinking. My dad taught me to be a righteous person and a hero since I was young. But the heavenly court is too peaceful, so I can't be a hero. Then I have a way to be a righteous hero. Do you want to try it? Yizichin raised his eyebrows and smiled like a wolf. Yes, Sky Sovereign, tell me what to do. The third prince replied urgently. He really liked Immortality Peach Fairy, but she always felt like he was a kid. He desperately needed a chance to prove himself and let her know how amazing he was. Slay the demons. Yizichin squinted his eyes. Third Prince Neza scratched his face when he saw the message. My dad told me not to get involved in this. Sky Sovereign, my dad won't let me. Then you don't want to be a hero? I do. But what if my dad hits me if I don't listen to him? Third Prince Neza replied helplessly. Yizichin squinted his eyes when he saw the reply. No problem. I still have a backup plan. Give the phone to Immortality Peach Fairy. Oh, he obediently handed the phone to the Immortality Peach Fairy. After receiving the phone, the Immortality Peach Fairy immediately replied on the screen. Big Brother Sky Sovereign, I saw your message just now. What do you want me to do? Is it difficult to deal with Third Prince Neza? Simple. Chapter 442. Neza's commanders seal within the Immortality Peach Garden. Immortality Peach Fairy put her hands on her waist and glared at him. Third Prince Neza, who stood beside her, revealed a hint of confusion on his cute face. Immortality Peach, what's wrong? You're asking me what's wrong? Immortality Peach Fairy pouted angrily. Didn't you refuse when Sky Sovereign Nameless asked you for help just now? I couldn't do anything about it. My dad hit me. Third Prince Neza frowned pitifully. Hearing that, Immortality Peach Fairy turned her head to the side and ignored him. Seeing that, Third Prince Neza was a bit anxious. Immortality Peach, didn't you always tell me that you've grown up? But now you're actually afraid of your dad hitting you? I've grown up. A hint of anger surfaced on Third Prince Neza's showed a face, then twitched his mouth. Isn't it just helping Sky Sovereign slay demons? Can't I just help? It's not like my dad can beat me. Neza wrinkled his nose, then snatched the phone over. Sky Sovereign, count me in. If you need help, then just come and find me. Oh yeah, in order to prevent any accidents. Ding dong. A red packet appeared on Yi Zichen's phone the moment he received the message. Why did this little fellow send me a red packet? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows, then clicked open the red packet. Commander's Seal, X1. Yi Zichen was completely shocked when he saw the message. Third Prince Neza actually sent me a Commander's Seal? Yi Zichen clicked the treasure chest frantically. Commander's Seal. Third Prince Neza's Commander Seal. This item can be used to command the Heavenly Court soldiers. It really is Neza's Commander Seal. Is this kid crazy? He actually sent out a Commander Seal. Sky Sovereign, that's my Commander Seal. If my father doesn't allow me to help you, you can use my Commander Seal to deploy troops. Those soldiers in the celestial heavens will recognize Commander Seals. The soldiers in the Heavenly Court recognize the Commander Seal. Third Prince Neza replied with a frown, then glanced towards Immortality, Peach Fairy. Yi Zichen was truly shocked by the little fellow. He merely wanted to trick the little fellow over. He didn't want the Commander's Seal. All right. Third Prince Neza bitterly smiled as he handed the phone to the Immortality Peach Fairy with its Sundara face. Humph. Receiving the phone, the Immortality Peach Fairy, who had been looking at the chat history, naturally saw that this child had sent out the Commander's Seal. As soon as she got her phone, she replied on her phone. Brother Celestial Venerable, Neza is still young. The Commander's Seal, I won't use it randomly. Yi Zichen replied sincerely. That's good. Neza is still a little like a kid. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. He's pulling me to play ball with him again. All right, go ahead. After exiting the chat, Yi Zichen stared blankly at the Commander's Seal in the treasure chest. If he could really get to the Heavenly Court, could he really get a batch of heavenly soldiers and generals from the Heavenly Court with this Commander's Seal? If it was in ancient times, he would be a general with great power. Kid, what are you doing? Yi Zichen looked up and glanced at Tai-Bai Jinxing, then clicked open the red packet server to read the contents. How's your progress? Heh, they're all people who like to be independent. I don't seem to have truly roped them in. But Old Li and Lai Zenzi should be trying to help. Tai-Bai Jinxing replied plainly. Although he had left the Heavenly Court, the only way for him to get help was still through his old friends in the Heavenly Court. While it might be due to his own selfish desires, he was also doing it for the good of his old friends. If he could end the war in the modern realm's other world, then it would save the war from spreading to the three realms. That place was filled with all sorts of people, and the demons' attacks would be even more aggressive. Don't talk about me. I didn't see you helping me trick those guys in the group just now. Where did you go? Me? Yi Zichen handed the phone over and pointed at Neza's Commander's Seal. It seems like my progress was faster than yours. Tai-Bai Jinxing received the phone in confusion. When he saw the Commander's Seal in the treasure chest, are you crazy? He stood up with a shout and chucked the phone back at Yi Zichen. You actually got Neza to send you the Commander's Seal. Just how gutsy are you? What are you panicking for? Yi Zichen twitched his mouth at Tai-Bai Jinxing, then picked up the phone and raised his eyebrows as he looked at the Commander's Seal. Neza sent this to me. He clearly said that he wanted to help. He merely sent the Commander's Seal to me to prevent some special situations from happening. It's messed up. It's all messed up. Tai-Bai Jinxing continuously shook his head. After a long while, he finally calmed down and let out a long sigh. It's fortunate that it was sent to you. If it was sent to someone else, then the Heavenly Court would be in huge trouble. Neza's military power is only second to Yang Jian's in the Heavenly Court. If someone with ulterior motives gets it, then the consequences would be unimaginable. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head with a sigh when he sensed the worry in Tai-Bai Jinxing's tone. This stubborn geezer said that he wouldn't bother with the Heavenly Court anymore. But isn't his heart still on the Heavenly Court? After all, he had served in the Heavenly Court for several 100,000 years, so he had feelings for him. Tai-Bai Jinxing patted Yi Zichen's shoulders, then replied with squinted eyes. The current situation seems to be in our favor. With Yang Jian and Neza's military power and that monkey's descendants of Mount Huagua, we might be able to fight against the demons. You really counted Neza's military power in? I can't go to the heavenly court, and you left the heavenly court. Are you stupid? Tai Bai Jinxing rolled his eyes in annoyance. Can't you just send the commander seal over to Yangjian when you need it? That's true. Yi Zichen scratched his head with a coy smile. The most important thing right now is that we don't know how strong the demons are. If we really fight here, then that monkey might be the strongest. Others might not understand the strength of the demons, but I do. I refuse to believe that they don't have any Immortal King-level experts. Tai Bai Jinxing squinted his eyes. Tai Bai Jinxing narrowed his eyes tightly. He, who had experienced the great war between gods and demons, was too clear about the true strength of the demon race. Back then, even the lowest-level soldiers of the demons were at the complete stage of the human immortal level. Even the lowest-level abyssals could reach the human immortal level. The demons back then were terrifyingly strong. We do not have any high-level fighting power right now. Yi Zichen nodded in response. Putting everything else aside, Su Yun, whom he met, was at least at the complete stage of the human immortal level, or even at the early stage of the human immortal level. What's more, he had heard of a Lord Black Dragon in the demon realm. Chapter 443. Leave the hospital scar? Wei Chun seemed to be the only one with a scar amongst the people that went. But why did Tai Bai Jinxing specifically mention him? It seems like he wasn't very strong. Brat, it seems like you don't know anything, right? Tai Bai Jinxing smiled and raised his eyebrows. That scar-faced man is the white tiger incarnation of one of the 4 sacred beasts. Are you sure? Yi Zichen looked at him in shock. Wei Chun is the white tiger? Although he did suspect Wei Chun's identity, he never thought that this guy would actually be the white tiger. There's still a lot you don't know. Hurry up and call him over. I have something very important to discuss with him. All right. Approximately half an hour later, Wei Chun, who was wearing a silver shirt, arrived at the apartment. The moment he entered, he nodded towards Yi Zichen. Boss Yi, what did you find me for? The moment he entered, he nodded towards Yi Zichen. Boss Yi, why did you find me in such a hurry? I'm currently repairing the broken spatial barrier with those little fellows. A hint of tiredness appeared in Wei Chen's eyes. He had been fighting on the front lines against the demons for a long time and would immediately rush to the scene with his men. Not only him, even the other members of the organization were extremely tired. You've worked hard. I'll go and lead a team to repair it later. Rest here for a while. Tai Bai also has some things he wants to discuss with you. He raised his hand and patted Wei Chen's shoulder. He subconsciously glanced at Tai Bai Yunfei, and his pupils shrank as he shook his head. His pupils contracted as he shook his head. Boss Yi, that sort of place is too dangerous. Don't talk about danger. I won't be in any danger with Xin Yuan here. Yi Zichen pressed Tai Bai Jinxing onto the sofa, then grabbed his jacket from the sofa and put it on. You guys chat, I'm going to the scene. Yi Zichen immediately left the room. At that moment, a sharp light flashed across Wei Chen's eyes as he looked towards Tai Bai Jinxing. Tai Bai Jinxing, white tiger. Tai Bai Jinxing also looked towards Wei Chun with a smile. Hearing that, Wei Chun shrugged helplessly. All right, since you already know his identity, then say it. What business do you have with this sovereign? Wei Chun took out a cigarette from his pocket and chucked it into his mouth, then continuously massaged his temples, while occasionally puffing out smoke. To make a long story short, this old man just wants to ask, I wonder if your excellency's true body can descend into the modern realm? Cough, cough. Wei Chun, who was smoking, suddenly coughed violently. After a while, he stopped coughing and stubbed out the cigarette in the ashtray, shaking his head. No. Why? Tai Bai Jinxing's face stiffened. He thought that since the white tiger's incarnation was here to defend against the enemy, it had the intention to help eliminate the devil. All right, then this sovereign will tell you the truth, but you can't tell Yi Zichen, understand? Sure. Not long later, the corner of Wei Chen's mouth twitched twice. In an instant, Tai Bai's eyes widened as he exclaimed, Impossible. After a few days of recuperation, Su Yan's body had completely recovered. In fact, according to common sense, it was impossible for her to recover so quickly. When the doctor in the hospital saw the examination report, He was also stunned. All the indicators were normal, and all the wounds on his body had healed. Not even a single scar was left. This could no longer be explained with common medical logic. When Su-Yin was discharged from the hospital, all of her friends and roommates came, except for Sun Yaij. It seems like I haven't seen Sun Yaij for a long time. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Xia Kiki nodded. Yeah, I haven't seen Sun Yaij since our school was reorganized. Due to the continuous murders and the disappearances of students in Polytechnic University, the school had already been reorganized. At that moment, Yi Zichen and the other students of Polytechnic University were on a long holiday. She might have gone on vacation, Lu Qianqian said. I went to her shop a while ago, but it was also closed. That's possible, Xia Kiki muttered on the side. But this bad guy, she actually didn't bring us along when she went on vacation. She didn't reply even when we called her in the group. Hey, didn't you guys come to pick me up from the hospital? Why do I feel like I'm not the main character? Su-Yin smiled on the side. At that moment, her body had completely recovered, and she was no different from a normal person. What caused Yi Zichen to feel that she seemed to have become even more charming after her illness? Why are you looking at me like that? A faint blush surfaced on Su-Yan's face when she noticed Yi Zichen's gaze. I think you're pretty, Yi Zichen replied straightforwardly. Just as they were chatting, the Su family people arrived. The person in front was naturally the serious Su Chi-hu, while Su Qilong, an old man, Su both arrived behind him. When Su-Yin saw Su Chi-hu, she couldn't help but think of her older brother, Su-Hun. That scene, that cold gaze, and those heart-wrenching words. Su-Yin bit her lips. At that moment, old man Su also walked over. He nodded towards Yi Zichen and company, then grabbed Su-Yan's hand with a kind smile. I've caused my baby granddaughter to suffer. My precious granddaughter has suffered. Let's go home with Grandpa. I want to go with them. Su-Yin pointed at the people beside her. Old man Su's kind smile instantly changed as he shook his head. No, go back with us. Old man Su would never have such an expression towards Su-Yin in the past, especially when Yi Zichen was present. He would always push her to Yi Zichen's side. However, this time, the old man refused without any room for negotiation, causing Su-Yin to be rather shocked. Grandpa, be good and go back with Grandpa. Do you want Grandpa to get angry? Old man Su's kind face turned solemn. Su-Yin bit her lips as if she still didn't want to go with them. Su-Yin, go back with Elder Su. You just got out of the hospital, so you need to rest at home, Yi Zichen said with a smile. Lil, you already said that. Let's go. Yi Zichen grabbed Su-Yan's arm and pulled her away, while Su Chi-hu and Su Qilong also left the room side by side. Only when their figures disappeared did Xia Kiki blink and mutter. So strange. It is very strange. Yi Zichen had never seen old man Su like this before. However, since he did this, then he definitely had his own reasons. Yi Zichen patted Xia Kiki's head, then looked at the two girls with a smile. What are you guys preparing to do? I'm going to intern at the hospital. Lu Qianqian shrugged in frustration. Lu Qianqian shrugged dejectedly and said, Grandpa just sent me a message and told me not to run around. Then just stay in the hospital properly. You need to learn this technique from Elder Zhen. TSK. None of your business. Lu Qianqian stomped her feet angrily, then turned around to leave. Yi Zichen watched her leave with a smile, then looked towards Xia Kiki. Chapter 444. Who won? Beep. Who won? Not long after Yi Zichen and Xia Kiki left the hospital, a car horn sounded out behind them. Yi Zichen subconsciously turned around and saw Lin Ru wave towards them. What? Yi Zichen got into her car. I haven't seen this girl for a long time. Her sudden appearance definitely wasn't as simple as a chance encounter. Don't give me that dirty look. Do you think I wanted to come and find you? You bring a girl with you every day. Seriously? Do you want to get the public dog food? Lin Ru rolled her eyes, then said, My grandpa is looking for you. As for the reason, don't ask me. I don't know. I'm just a driver. Old man Lin, Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and felt a bit confused. What could this geezer be looking for me for? I've already healed his injuries. The two of us don't have much to talk about, especially when he's looking for me a few months later. Weird. It was impossible to find out anything from Lin Ru. This woman acted like she was on her period. She had a cold expression the entire time, as if someone owed her money. None of the three people in the car said anything. They simply sat there and headed towards the Lin family's courtyard. At that moment, it was already winter. The temperature in Bingsheng was not as high as the south, but it was already terrifyingly cold. The attendants and security personnel in the courtyard were all wearing cotton jackets, but Old Man Lin was only wearing a shirt as he sat in the courtyard playing Go with Lin Hanbin. "Grandpa, he's here," Lin Ru called out from not far away. Old Man Lin, who was sitting in front of the Go table, nodded with a smile. "Got it, go in. That dumb brat has been waiting for you in the living room for a long time." "Uh-huh." Only then did Lin Ru's face blossom with a bright smile. She ran back to the living room with a giggle, while Yi Zichen also brought Xia Kiki over to Old Man Lin's side. "Hanbin, don't waste time with this old man here. Let's go." "Okay." Lin Hanbin stood up from the table, nodded towards Yi Zichen with a smile, then turned around to leave. "Sit." Old Man Lin pointed at the seat that Lin Hanbin had just sat on. When Yi Zichen sat down, the first thing Old Man Lin said was, "Who do you think has a better chance of winning this game?" Yi Zichen was stumped by the question. He might be able to understand if it was Chinese chess, but Go, it was too high-end. "White." After randomly making a guess, Old Man Lin lightly nodded his head, then raised his eyebrows and said, "Okay, I got it. You can go now." What the hell? Was there something wrong with this old man? Lin Ru had gone through so much trouble to get him here, and they had even been stuck in a traffic jam for 2 hours. They hadn't even exchanged a few words, and he just asked who would win, and it was over. Disregarding everything else, Yi Zichen expressed that he was not someone that the geezer could order around. "Grandpa, are you kidding me? I didn't." Old Man Lin smiled faintly and pressed the black chess piece in his hand onto a certain spot on the chessboard. "You can't go there. You lose." Xia Kiki raised her eyebrows on the side. Old Man Lin smiled faintly. "Of course this old man knows, but Lil Yi said that the white piece will win, so let the white piece win." What kind of weird words are these? Yi Zichen felt like he didn't really understand. He said that whatever piece he allowed to win would win. Then if he said that the black piece would win, then the black piece would win? But what did it matter? "Grandpa, what exactly did you call me over for?" Yi Zichen looked at him in confusion. Old Man Lin shook his head with a smile, then messed up the chessboard and put away the chess pieces one by one. "I just called you over to watch a game of Go. Hanbin and I had already played many games before you came. I didn't think that you would actually be here for this one." Old Man Lin shook his head with a wry smile. Old Man Lin shook his head and smiled bitterly. After a while, he stood up from his chair and stretched lazily. "All right, go back. I already know your choice." "What do you mean by my choice?" "This game of Go." "Grandpa, explain it to me clearly." Yi Zichen became more and more confused. "I don't understand what he's saying at all." All right, let's go back." Old Man Lin walked towards the mansion with a smile. Yi Zichen frowned and wanted to stop him, but at that very moment, 2 black-masked men appeared in front of him. "Sir, you can't walk any further. Go to the side." Yi Zichen raised his hands to push the 2 men away. However, when he touched them, he noticed experts. How could the Lin family have this sort of expert? A complete stage, human immortal, was at least of this level. "I'll give you a suggestion. Donate all of the income from your medical company. That might help you in the future." Old Man Lin suddenly stopped and smiled. Old Man Lin suddenly stopped and chuckled. "Oh right, it's been so long. I wonder if you're ready to hear the reason for my injuries?" "Say it." After experiencing so much, Yi Zichen no longer cared about the reason for Old Man Lin's injuries. At most, it would be a fight between the hidden clans. Now that he had fought with the devil race, that level of problem had no effect on him. But since this geezer wants to say it, then it's fine. "Demon." Old Man Lin laughed softly. Yi Zichen's expression froze when he heard the reply. When he returned to his senses and wanted to ask for more details, the geezer had already returned to the mansion. "Sir, please leave." The 2 masked men made a please gesture, while Yi Zichen stared at the geezer's back. "Let's go." Yi Zichen pulled Xia Kiki and left without any hesitation. Old Man Lin stood silently at the door, while Lin Ru also walked over. Grandpa, how did he choose? White one. Old man Lin shook his head with a smile. Lin Ru's expression instantly changed. Doesn't that mean? I feel like he chose very well. At least there's a chance for him to turn the situation around. However, the brat is the one who's going to be troubled. Old man Lin sighed, then patted Lin Ru's head. Old man Lin sighed softly and patted Lin Ru's little head. All right, don't worry so much. Your talent has just awakened. It's not good for you to worry so much. Just let nature take its course. Yi Zichen, what did that geezer say just now? Why didn't I understand? Black clearly had a higher chance of winning just now. Xia Kiki, who was sitting in the car, pouted. Yi Zichen shook his head with a frown. How would I know? How would I know? I don't know anything about Go. That old man always said some strange things. I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling. Actually, Yi Zichen still had a lot of questions. For example, what the geezer said, demons. Was his injury caused by the demon race? Also, why did he specifically find me to ask about the winner of the game? What sort of effect would that have? Why did those two human immortal level experts appear in the Lin family? Isn't the Lin family a family of corporations? Chapter 445. Last 7 days, tiredly pushing open the door of the apartment, Tai-Bai Jinxing did not stay at home. Recently, she didn't know what kind of agreement he and Wei Chen had reached, but the two of them were always together like they were wearing the same pair of pants. Sitting on the sofa, he let out a long sigh of relief. Everything that happened just now was too much for him to handle. No matter how hard he thought about it, he couldn't figure out what winning that game of chess represented. What's with that old man? He still didn't tell Yi Zichen the reason. Isn't he just torturing me? Brat, the old dragon god's voice sounded out in Yi Zichen's sea of consciousness. Go to the old dragon god's place and cultivate first. I'll be there soon. Not long later, he said a few more words to the old dragon god. Approximately half a minute later, Xia Kiki leaned against Yi Zichen's shoulder with a lifeless look in her eyes. From the looks of it, she had already entered. Yi Zichen scratched his head, then took out a cigarette from his pocket and lit one for himself. Then, he took out his phone and opened the Red Packet server. The Heavenly Court's chat group was already dead. Without any active members, it was like a pool of stagnant water. For a few days, there were not many people talking inside. Even if someone talked, they would only ask when their salary would be paid. On the other hand, the Red Envelope server 999 plus. God of Thunder, Fairy Chong, E is coming for the Sky Sovereign, right? Mother of Lightning, Little Bitch, Immortality Peach Fairy, Fairy Chong, he definitely came here to find my brother. Okay? Do you even need to ask? Canopy Marshall, when did the Sky Sovereign become your brother? Immortality Peach Fairy, don't doubt Sky Venerable Nameless. Brother, they don't believe that you're my brother. Third Prince Neza, I can testify. The group chat was filled with all sorts of topics. When he saw Immortality Peach Fairy mention him, he popped up in the group. Cough cough, the Immortality Peach Fairy will be my sworn sister from now on. Great deities, please take care of her. God of Thunder, oh, Saturn Peaches are not bad. Mother of Lightning, Immortality Peach Little Bitch. God of Fortune, Immortality Peach Mimi, add me as a friend. I'll send you a big red packet. Immortality Peach Fairy, no, sunder a face. Third Prince Neza, Immortality Peach Fairy, let's go play football. Yi Zichen was speechless when he saw the message from the Mother of Lightning. Yang Jian really doesn't know how to teach people anything good. Little bitch actually became a compliment in the Heavenly Court. He sighed helplessly. Only then did he remember that the person in front of him said that Chong, he had entered the group. Yang Jian seemed to have told him that this girl was going to descend to the mortal world, but he didn't see her come down even after so long. Ding dong. Someone sent him a private message. After exiting the Red Packet group, Chong Yi's beautiful profile picture had a bright red 1 on it. You're not angry, right? Where did this come from? Yi Zichen paused for a moment, then replied. Why should I be angry? What happened? I'm not saying that I'm going to the lower realm to look for you, but a lot of things have happened in the Heavenly Court recently. The Jade Emperor even ordered us not to move around casually. There have been people checking up on us recently. So, Chong, He bit her lips as her delicate face scrunched up. No wonder. Yi Zichen nodded in understanding, but for some reason, he actually felt a bit lucky. Fortunately, Chang, it didn't come down. If she did, he would be exhausted to death. Worrying about the matters of the devil race every day was enough to make people tired. No worries, then don't come down for now. I might return to the three realms after a while, so it'll be the same for us to meet then. That's great. This time, Chang, you directly replied in Yi Zichen's mind. Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile when he felt her excitement. She's so happy right now. I wonder if she can still smile when she sees me in person. Oh yeah, actually, I entered the group this time because I have something to tell you. Chang spoke in Yi Zichen's sea of consciousness once again. Oh, what is it? Bunny and I don't have much to do in the Moon Palace, so we research how you made those snacks of yours. We succeeded not too long ago. What succeeded? The snacks that you sold to the Heavenly Court. The two of us can pretty much make the same ones, but I feel like the seasoning and craftsmanship are a bit lacking. Chang, he replied happily. Also, the present that Yang Jian and company gave during the Queen Mother's birthday banquet was actually given by you, right? Bunny and I made it as well, but it's a bit slower. Ding dong. System mission issued. Build a factory in the Heavenly Court. Includes factories for food, daily necessities, cosmetics, clothing, etc. Mission duration, 7 days. Mission reward, reputation, x 10,000. System side mission issued. Donate everything in the medical company. Mission duration, 7 days. Mission reward, reputation. Just as Yi Zichen was thinking about how good Chang, Yi, and Jade Rabbit were at researching, the system gave him a mission to build a factory in the Heavenly Court. Was there a connection between the two? Also, Old Man Lin just told him about the donation, so the system gave him a mission to donate. Of course, although it was a side mission, it was still a bit strange. According to the system, any mission given was to pave the way for him. There was no need to say much about the factory. Even if the system didn't give him a mission, he still wanted to build a factory in the Heavenly Court. Otherwise, it would be too troublesome if he kept on stocking up and sending red packets to Yulao. What's more, there were already plenty of people in the Heavenly Court who gave up on buying those snacks due to the lack of materials. Although he had Tai-Bai Jinxing's cultivation experience, people never disliked having more money, and Yi Zichen did not dislike having more cultivation experience either. However, the time given was a bit tight, 7 days. Both missions had 7 days, so it was as if the system was telling him that everything would be too late after 7 days. Nameless. Chang Yi's soft call sounded out in Yi Zichen's sea of consciousness once again, causing him to return to his senses. I'm here. I was dealing with some stuff just now. Sorry. Is that so? Then if you're busy, then I won't disturb you. Just call out my name when you're free. Chang replied softly. Chang, he replied softly. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. Then their conversation came to an end. Yi Zichen lifted his phone and looked at the mission on it once again. Ding dong. System notification. Brat, stop blanking out. Hurry up. These 7 days are your last time. You have to make good use of it. I know, didn't you say it? The mission time is 7 days. It's not like I'm blind. System notification. I can't tell you in too much detail, but remember what I said. You only have 7 days. Only. Do you understand? Only 7 days. You have to deal with everything that you can within these 7 days. If I were you, I would start to contact people to buy equipment and learn from professionals. Your time is very tight, understand? Chapter 446. Extreme Speed Advancement. Ding dong. You have received reputation X 14,675 for being charitable. Ding dong. Side mission completed. Mission reward. Reputation X 1,000. A system notification popped up on Yi Zichen's phone. Not long later, Xiao Yumei pushed open the office door and walked in with a hint of confusion. Apart from the liquid funds, all of the company's funds have already been transferred into the fund account. Why did you suddenly donate all of it? To accumulate merit for myself. Yi Zichen replied plainly, then glanced at his current reputation. At that moment, his reputation had already reached 15902. He didn't know what exactly these reputation points were used for, He only knew that the system and Tai-Bai jinxing both told him to hurry up and earn more reputation. Xiao Yumei rolled her eyes in annoyance at his reply, but she didn't say anything else. Since the man said he was going to donate, then he'll just donate it all. He definitely had his own reasons for doing so. Oh yeah, how's it going with the factory equipment and whatnot that I told you to contact a few days ago? The factory building has already been decided upon, and all of the equipment has been brought in. However, due to the lack of technicians, we haven't been able to get too many of them, even if we asked headhunting companies to pay a high price. Xiao Yumei raised her eyebrows. These few days, Yi Zichen had been telling her to do some rather strange things. To be honest, she was rather curious. Why are you building a factory? Isn't the medical company doing pretty well right now? I can't explain it to you. How about this? Take me to the factory first. Uh-huh. Yi Zichen took out his phone and typed in Yu Lao's direction as Xiao Yumei drove to the factory. Come out. Yu Lao had been extremely busy recently. Sky Sovereign suddenly told him to buy land in the Heavenly Court, and a large area at that. His legs had been so tired from running around for the past few days. Just as he was about to sit down and eat some ice cream, the Celestial Venerable sent him another message. Sky Sovereign, the old man is here. What do you want to do now? Did you buy all the land in the Heavenly Court? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and replied. After the system repeatedly emphasized that he only had 7 days left, he started to get a bit anxious. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been in such a hurry to get the others busy as well, although he still didn't understand the true meaning of these last 7 days. But there wasn't much time left. He had to hurry. I'm almost done. Yu Lao wiped the sweat off his forehead with his hand and said, You requested for a residential area far away from the residents of the Heavenly Court, and the surrounding greenery has to be in place. I bought it all. Well done. Yi Zichen nodded, then licked his lips. Go to the land you bought right now. I'll send you a red packet later. The treasures in the red packets all take up a lot of space. Good. Yu Lao replied helplessly. He put his phone back in his pocket and licked the ice cream in his hand. At the same time, he summoned a cloud fly. After settling Yu Lao down, Yi Zichen turned back to look at Xiao Yumei. How much longer until we get there? Don't worry. The factory will naturally be in the suburbs. We haven't even left the city center yet. Xiao Yumei replied helplessly. These few days, her little man was really anxious. Is that so? Yi Zichen muttered, then clicked open the system notification on his phone. At this time, there were only 17 hours left to complete the mission. Who knew what would happen in these 17 hours? Why did the system keep emphasizing the last 7 days? Could it be that he would be erased if he couldn't complete it? That shouldn't be the case. If he was really killed, the system should have directly issued a failure penalty when it issued the mission. But there was no such mission at all. Yi Zichen rubbed his tired temples, then leaned against the back of the car and looked ahead with a frown. After 3 whole hours, Yi Zichen and company finally arrived at the factory that Xiao Yumei mentioned. In front of them was a huge industrial park. As soon as they got out of the car, someone came to greet them. Director Xiao, Director Yi. Yes, this is the address I chose for you. What do you think? That's right, Yi Zichen replied plainly. Are there any other employees here? Yes, Boss Yi. The man who greeted them nodded. Including the employees and technicians, there are around 3,000 people here. Tell them to leave as fast as possible. You may tell the company's finance department to give them half a year's salary. Zichen, what's wrong now? Not only was the man shocked, even Xiao Yumei was completely shocked. These were all people that Yi Zichen found with great difficulty. It was fine if it was just the normal employees, but the technicians were all poached with high salaries. Didn't he want to open a factory? Why? Listen to me. Tell them to leave immediately. Leave this place immediately. All right, I'll listen to you, Xiao Yumei sighed. Xiao Yumei sighed, then said to the man, General Manager Liu, I'm sorry. Let's end our cooperation here. Please tell all the employees here to leave. I'm truly sorry. No worries. Let's continue working together next time. The man did not say anything else. He merely walked to the broadcasting room and shouted a few words. Not long after, a large number of people walked out of the factory at the same time After sending the employees away, Xiao Yumei raised her eyebrows in confusion. What do I want to do now? There shouldn't be anyone around. Yi Zichen activated his fiery eyes of truth and looked around. Xiao Yumei also subconsciously looked around, then shook her head. There doesn't seem to be anyone. That would be best. Yi Zichen nodded, then took out his phone. No matter what you see later, don't be too surprised. Okay. Scan. It was just as Yi Zichen had expected. The industrial park could be directly scanned into an item and sent through a red packet. Ding dong. The system has detected that the red packet you have sent this time is too large. An additional 200,000 cultivation experience will be charged. Damn it. The system was clearly the one who told me to set up a factory in the Heavenly Court. But now I'm being charged a processing fee for sending red packets. Confirm. Whoosh. The industrial park, which would take more than 10 minutes to reach by car, suddenly disappeared in front of her. When she saw this scene, she was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Was that what Yi Zichen was referring to? How could I not be shocked? That was an industrial park. It was gone just like that. More importantly, where did he change the industrial park to? Even though she had been by Yi Zichen's side for a long time and thought that her mental endurance was strong enough, she was still shocked beyond belief. However, Yi Zichen was not in the mood to care about that. At that moment, he had already started to message Yu Lao in a frenzy. Chapter 447. Heavenly Court Industrial Park established. Yu Lao had been waiting there for a long time. He had eaten countless ice creams. When he saw that the Celestial Venerable had sent him a red envelope, he opened it without thinking. The industrial area that Yi Zichen had scanned instantly appeared above Yu Lao's head. The old man was stunned for a moment when he saw the guy that covered the sky, then quickly retreated to a safe position. Bang! The empty space where the industrial park was located to the heavenly courts emitted a loud rumble. Only when the dust dissipated did Yu Lao blink at the huge object in front of him. The Empyrean's treasures are getting more and more advanced. He gulped. After a while, Yu Lao replied on his phone. Sky Sovereign, I've received the red packet. Of course, Yi Zichen knew that Yu Lao had already received the red packet because the system had already notified him that he had completed the mission. Ding dong. Quest complete. Reputation gained. 10,000. Another 10,000 reputation points came in. Now, his reputation points had reached 25902. System notification. You have received Crafting Guide X1. It has been stored inside your treasure chest. System notification. Did you see the production guide I gave you? Send it to Yu Lao. As for the rest, you should understand. A friendly reminder. If Chong, Yi, and Jade Rabbit were to participate, they would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. Yi Zichen was starting to suspect that the person who sent the system notification could read his chat history with other people. If that's the case, then doesn't that mean that I'm completely out of the world? Yi Zichen nodded, then flipped open the treasure chest. As expected, there was an excellent crafting guidebook inside. Send. Yu Lao has received your red packet. Sky Sovereign, what is this? Yu Lao held the production guide and kept flipping through it. When he flipped to the food processing page at the beginning, he immediately replied, Is this how those treasures are made? Yes, in the future, all goods will be produced and sold by the Heavenly Court. In terms of production, you can invite Fairy Chong, Yi, and Jade Rabbit to participate as technical consultants. As for employees, I believe you should be able to find them, right? This is possible. If the Heavenly Court really doesn't have enough people, I'll just go down to the lower realms to find some. Okay, then I'll leave this industrial park to you. After a few simple replies, Yi Zichen put his phone back into his pocket. At this moment, Xiao Yumei's eyes were wide open. She covered her mouth with her hand as she watched the industrial park disappear. It was really gone. All right, stop looking. Yi Zichen wrapped his arm around her waist and smiled. It won't come out again if you keep looking. Then where did you put it? Xiao Yumei asked in a daze. The Heavenly Court. Yi Zichen shrugged indifferently. Isn't this industrial park ours? They can't say anything even if it disappears, right? It seems like you're wrong. Xiao Yumei blinked in a daze, then bit her lips and said, We're the ones who rented this place. In the car, Xiao Yumei was already prepared to contact the owner of the industrial park to buy it. At the same time, she would completely seal off the area to prevent any news from leaking. However, it was impossible for such a large industrial park to disappear without a trace. The only thing they could do now was to control the public opinion as much as possible. Back at the apartment, Tai Bai and Wei Chun were sitting on the sofa smoking. Yi Zichen didn't know how much the two of them smoked, but the moment he opened the door, he felt a wave of thick smoke rush towards him. "Bossy." Wei Chun stood up from the sofa and nodded towards Yi Zichen. Even though he found out from Tai Bai that Yi Zichen was the White Tiger's incarnation, he still didn't treat Yi Zichen too specially. The main reason was that they were too familiar with each other and were already used to the way they interacted. "The two of you are amazing. You're inseparable every day. I haven't seen Old Wei's wife in such a long time. How about you two get married?" Yi Zichen teased. Wei Chun instantly smiled dryly and told Yi Zichen to stop joking. Meanwhile, Tai Bai continued to smoke with a sullen expression. "Fine, Lord Tai Bai is in a bad mood, so I shouldn't stay here to annoy him." Yi Zichen shrugged and returned to the bedroom. The moment he entered, Xin Yuanxiang came out and wandered around the room leisurely. "What's going on with that little guy, Tin Yuan, recently? He's been playing with building blocks in your mansion." "You're asking me, but who am I supposed to ask?" Recently, no matter when Yi Zichen went out, Tin Yuan would be playing with building blocks at home. In the past, Tin Yuan was the one who stuck to him the most, wishing that he could walk out of that room. Even if he wanted to, he would hide in the space between his eyebrows and follow him. "This little guy is a little strange. I'll have to ask him when I get back." Xin Yuanxiang stretched lazily, while Yi Zichen nodded. "All right, let's go. You can ask, but it's natural for children to like to play. Don't be too harsh with your words." "Hey, I've lived for so long. Do I still need you to tell me that?" Xin Yuanxiang blinked, then twitched her mouth and snorted. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes speechlessly, then sat cross-legged on the ground and called out to the dragon god in his mind. "I need to make use of every second to increase my strength. Little fellow, pull me in." Whoosh! The scene changed. When Yi Zichen once again appeared in the dragon god subdimension, he noticed that Xia Kiki was also there. "How'd you get in?" The old dragon god pointed suspiciously at Xia Kiki, who was sitting on the ground. "This junior is quite talented. I gave her a supplementary talisman so that she can come in when she needs it. I'm already dead, so being able to nurture a junior here means that I've done my part for the dragon race." Yi Zichen could feel the old dragon god's deep concern for the dragon race from his words. Yi Zichen nodded, then sucked towards the dragon race's secret scripture in the air: dragon soul, dragon soul, dragon bone, dragon god. Each level could be comprehended 9 times. Currently, he was at the stage where he had comprehended dragon soul twice. As long as he could comprehend it once more, or make a slight improvement on the dragon bone, then he would be able to reach the level of a human immortal. Yi Zichen held his breath and flipped through the pages. The moment he saw the words on the top of the secret scripture, Yi Zichen became immersed in it. 10 odd hours passed in the blink of an eye. During that time, Yi Zichen's aura steadily increased and showed signs of breaking through. Oh, Yi Zichen came. At that moment, Xia Kiki had already woken up from her cultivation. When she saw Yi Zichen, she noticed that the spiritual energy on his body had become more and more berserk. "He's about to break through," the old dragon god said plainly. He was already rather numb to Yi Zichen's breakthroughs. However, what no one expected was, what is this brat doing? Yi Zichen, who was about to break through, actually dispersed all of the spiritual energy he had gathered. Ugh! Yi Zichen coughed up a mouthful of blood. Under the confused gazes of the old dragon god and Xia Kiki, Yi Zichen pressed his hand against the ground and choked with sobs.